Hello and welcome to Recently Watched, the show where two jackasses talk about movies and TV shows they recently watched. My name is Justin Ashley, and joining me is stark anti-feminist Kevin Lackner.
It's not true, folks.
Yeah, I don't know.
He keeps setting me up with like these like terrible.
Well, no, I mean, they're actual accurate descriptions. I know that you're going to, of course, downplay them, but, you know, we're friends. I've known you over the years.
Yeah.
I know what you're actually like off camera, so, yeah. You want me to give you a different intro?
Sure.
No, I'm not going to do that.
Oh,
All right, let's get to the show. That's what you get this time. We both have a list here. We are doing this first thing in the morning. This might be a little bit more sluggish than we normally are on the show.
Perhaps.
We literally had to do. I was like, "Oh, we're filming in the second episode," because normally we only film one episode at a time, and then it's spaced out. We film like once a month, so now we are immediately. We just filmed yesterday. We are immediately filming again.
Immediately jumping back in.
Yeah, just so that you guys have content, because God forbid we go a month where we don't put something out there, you know, for the 10 people that actually listen to this.
I don't know that there's 10 people.
I think there's 6, and 4 of those are our friends and family. So
probably.
There's two organic listeners that actually give a shit. So I got a big list here. I am going to do something special. I find normally when we do this, I typically just do like movies.
Yeah.
I very rarely talk about TV shows. I am doing the exact opposite. I only have TV shows to talk about.
We haven't talked about many TV shows. I did Dark Shadows a few episodes ago. We talked about that. That was a TV show.
No, you mean What We Do in the Shadows?
What We Do.
I was like, Dark Shadows is like the old British like 60s show. You did that?
Is that all? That's also a show.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah,
it's from like the 60s. Yeah, and they had that terrible reboot movie with Johnny Depp.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, Johnny Depp and...
That's also vampires, isn't it?
Yes.
Okay. No, What We Do in the Shadows is what we talked about.
Yes. Correct. It's to recap, we're filming this first thing in the morning, and we might be a little bit slower. Vampires are in that show too? Yes. Last week we talked about Dark Shadows. What the fuck are you talking about?
Look back to episode 2 for our discussion on Dark Shadows.
But that was not episode 2. That was like episode 3. Fucking idiot. Okay.
All right, what do you got?
All right. We're starting off with a wet fart. I watched, this was a while ago, I watched this, the Chucky TV series.
Where'd you get this?
I have no idea. $20 sound fair?
This creepy doll just creeps me the hell out.
Me too.
Hi, I'm Chucky.
Hello?
Yeah, I'm calling about the doll.
What?
Be very careful with that doll.
What are you talking about?
Have you checked his batteries?
Do you know anything about this?
They made a is this the evil doll?
Yeah,
Chucky?
yeah.
They made a show.
Like Child's Play.
Okay.
Yeah, like Child's Play Chucky.
Well,
Yeah.
because the series is called Child's Play. So
Right. But the TV show is just called Chucky.
Okay.
The actual series, you're right, and that's a big misconception a lot of people have, is they call it the Chucky series, which you're not wrong in that, like, I guess for Friday the 13th, you could say it's the Jason Voorhees series, or for Nightmare on Elm Street, you could say, oh, it's the Freddy Krueger series. Like, people would know what you're saying. Like, oh, Halloween, that's the Michael Myers series. Yeah, you're not wrong. But in this case, they've now, for the TV show, rather than call the TV show Child's Play, they're like, no, we're going to make it Chucky. Okay. Probably for dum-dums, I'm guessing, is the answer to that, because it's like,
now there's like,
it's more marketable to be like, people will be like, oh, Chucky, I know that. Whereas the actual original series was called Child's Play.
Yeah.
However, some of the titles, Child's Play wasn't in the title. So like Bride of Chucky, they started fucking with that.
How does Child's Play do with your whole sequencing of the names thing? Because we've talked about this before. So is it Child's Play 1, 2, 3, 4, 5?
Child's Play 1, 2, and 3.
Okay.
Then it's Bride of Chucky, Curse of Chucky, Cult of Chucky. Oh, no, sorry, I missed one. It's Bride of Chucky, Seed of Chucky, Curse of Chucky, Cult of Chucky. So they got rid of the Child's Play. They dropped it after 3 and then just made it of Chucky, which I don't mind because, again, it's not super obnoxious because it never repeats the title. It never does anything that, in my opinion, throws it off. Like the naming convention is like, it starts off as Child's Play. Those are numerical, like sequential numbers. And then they just started changing, like each movie had its own name. That's totally fine because they're not confused. You're not going to confuse Bride of Chucky with Cult of Chucky. It's like, it's still got the of Chucky, but cult, curse, like they have very specific keywords that make it easy to search, right? And then the remake, of course, was just called Child's Play.
Oh, so they didn't go with the Chucky thing for the remake.
For the remake.
Well, I guess because it's a remake.
Yeah,
so
that's more Mark Hamill's the voice of Chucky.
Oh, that's fucking weird.
Yeah,
no, I didn't
he actually
know
does
that.
a really good job.
Oh.
Yeah, that movie's. I have opinions on that. You'll have to tune into Slash Cinema with me and Mark to find out when we eventually get to the Child's Play movies, which I don't know when that's going to be. No time soon. We got a lot we're working on right now.
Okay, so they made a million movies about this evil killer doll,
and now they've made a
TV
show. So this show started in 2021. It is still ongoing. It was like USA or Sci-Fi Network that did this show.
Yeah.
I actually don't have a lot to say.
Oh, really?
It is fucking awful. I couldn't get past the second episode.
How many episodes is it?
Oh, it's on like season 3 or 4 right now. It's
Oh,
ongoing.
Jesus
It's still going.
Christ. Okay.
It is very popular, but I want to say something. As a big horror fan myself, I am not in the majority on horror films. Like, I find often what I don't like, everybody else likes, and the opposite is often true too. Where what everybody likes, I don't like, you know?
Yeah.
So with horror fans, it's such a low bar to please most horror fans, I find. I'm not trying to shit on that community, but I am kind of shitting on that community. It's very easy to please. Like, they don't have big expectations where it's like, if something is competent, oh, it's good. Yeah, you can just keep putting out mediocrity.
Oh,
and
I see, yeah.
that's what this show is. It's like, it's got just enough in it that the fans of Chucky would please them enough. Like someone like me or you that's like a more snobbish, like an actual critical viewer, we would hate this show, and I did. But like it is very popular, and I think it's because it's got just enough in it that horror fans are like, yeah, okay, good, yay, you did the thing.
So
it sucks shit. So
is it scary? Is it
okay?
gory?
So the
Is
basic
it, like,
plot,
thrilling?
it actually canonically takes place in the same timeline as the movies, which is pretty cool.
That's actually cool.
That is cool. So it follows up after the last one, which was Curse of Chucky.
So it would be in the 80s or 90s?
No, it's like in the 2000s because Curse of Chucky is like from 2000s.
Because this series starts in the 80s, though, right?
I think the first movie is 88 or 89. Yeah.
So does
Child's
it
Play.
chronologically move through? Like, because the Chucky doll is like a popular doll
Right.
in this universe,
Right.
And then
the good guy doll. Yeah.
over the decades, they keep selling this doll despite the fact that it murders people.
No, I don't think they sold the doll past like the second movie. Maybe past the third movie. I think it was out of production by that point.
So after that, it's just the one evil doll.
Basically, yeah.
Okay.
The series.
I don't know much about this series.
Wait till our episode of Slash Cinema, and then we'll
Okay.
explain it all
All
to you.
right, all right.
But it doesn't matter. It's not important because this starts off fresh anyways. So it starts off with this young boy whose name I don't remember. He's basically the stand-in for the Andy or child character. A lot of the Chucky and Child's Play movies would have like a young, naive, boy that was like the main protagonist, and Chucky would prey on them. It starts off with this effeminate boy that I believe is struggling with his sexuality. That's a big thing in this show, is like they're very big on themes of sexuality and that type of thing. And I'll give the show credit for how it handles it. It never diminishes it, and it never makes you like, it's never like, oh, there's the gay character or something like that. Not at all. That it's very much a plot point and theme in the show.
Okay.
So it has a lot of those themes. So credit for them for effectively implementing those themes. It never feels exploitative or like too on the nose per se.
Yeah.
But the main kid, I think, if I remember correctly, he was struggling with his sexuality. He's got this abusive asshole dad, and he ends up finding Chucky. The two end up bonding, and then Chucky starts killing the people around him, including his asshole dad, and then some of his friends. And I only made it to the end of like the second episode.
Oh, okay.
From what I've
so
seen,
you tapped out basically.
Yeah, like if you look at the poster here, like that, I
Yeah.
think it's for seats Chucky's like at the White House.
Yeah,
Like,
what is
this
that?
is like the newer season that I don't think has come out yet. I think it's like season 3 or 4. It's
He's
like
taking over. It's like
the
the
show-
country is chucked.
right.
Like he's
that's what I'm
taking over
saying.
America.
That's what I'm saying. It's like I know by this point in the series, it has gone off the rails and gone insane. I
Yeah.
couldn't make it past the second episode. The acting is terrible. It has zero budget. It's shot so cheaply and so flat. Like it just looks like a CW production.
So this
it's actually
isn't-
it looks like a bottom tier CW production.
So this isn't like classic special effects or anything
So
like that.
the only thing it has going for it, literally, and that's why I'm like, I think this is why it's popular. The only thing it has going for it is the puppetry and animatronics look amazing,
Oh, that's good.
and the kills are pretty good. That's
At
it.
least they
It's
didn't
got
just
nothing
do-
else going for it.
They didn't do like a CGI Chucky.
No,
They actually
no.
did,
Still
a
animatronic puppet.
animatronic.
Yeah, but it's just what you have here is they had zero money, so the only money they had they put into the kills and the animatronics. The problem is what it ends up turning into is like the characters all suck, the dialogue is all shit, and it literally the story only exists like just to get you to the next kill. Like that's the show basically. It's just like it's a bunch of like rigmarole of characters you don't care about talking about stupid shit with terrible dialogue. Everyone's lame in this. No one has good acting, and then it's terrible sets. It's shot very poorly. It all feels cheap. There's all kinds of continuity issues and all kinds of logic things. You're like, huh? Like you will if you're watching this
Yeah.
critically, you're constantly going to be like, why would they do that? Why would that happen? And this story exists only to just like get you to that next kill.
It's weird.
That's literally the show.
It's a weird concept to make a show about a classic like horror villain because you wouldn't want him to be the main character in a sense because like you're not empathizing with like Chucky or Freddy Krueger or
Right.
Jason.
Right.
So you need a cast of characters that you care about
Right.
that then like enter dangerous situations and you're like, oh no, I don't want them to die or like I hope that they escape. So you would have to like write good characters to then put into
To
these
support,
situations. Otherwise it
yeah.
is just like a role of like kills, I guess, right? Like
Can you make a TV show surrounding a horror villain? The
'Cause, like, how would you
answer
make
is
a-
yes, but what you need to do is have a really strong cast of characters, and the horror villain is the main antagonist of the show.
But then
That's the
would
way to
you
do it.
it's
You
like
could do a Nightmare on Elm Street show. You could do a Friday the 13th. I mean, fuck, they're making a Friday the 13th TV show right now called
Oh.
Crystal Lake.
Oh, really?
remember? Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know when it takes place in the timeline. You absolutely could, because what you do is you take the movie formula and stretch it out over a season.
Yeah.
And make us really care about those characters. So you get rid of the one note, hot chicks showing their tits and jockey assholes. You get rid of those one note people, give them some character development and depth, give us some side plots, and then have the main antagonist looming over in the background and over the arc of the season. That's the way to do it. And
Yeah.
I'm sure that's what they did in this show. I'm just saying the show is so bad and it's just so lame. I found it unbearable. I was like, this is so... As soon as I turned it on, I was like, fuck. Like, I didn't know what level of production it was going to be. It's so, like, such a cheaply made show.
I did always find the concept of Chucky scary. Like
It's a fun concept.
Yeah, it's a great
fun concept. There's a reason those movies are so popular and that character lives on to this day. To its credit, the original creators involved, which is cool because it's
That's
canon.
cool. Yeah.
All of the original cast that basically wanted to returned. So like Steven Dorff is still the voice of Chucky.
Okay, so it's been the one guy the whole time?
Yeah, except for the remake, it's Mark Hamill, just in the one remake.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
okay.
Even I think his name is Andrew Cassell. The Andy, the little boy from the original movie.
Yeah.
He's in the show as like a grown man. The actress from Child's Play 2 comes back. Jennifer Tilly comes back. Like everybody comes back that's in the original series.
They got everybody back.
Yeah. It's a Child's Play fanboy's dream. The problem is it's just they don't have enough budget to make it really good. That's the issue I have with it. Is it's so cheaply made that I can't get into it. I just can't get into it. I can't recommend it. It's not well made. You see the love is there. You can tell the passion's there, but it's so hollow and so cheaply made. It comes across as just so bland and lame, unfortunately.
But with shows, like, what if it's like, oh, but season 2 is really good?
Yeah,
Or
I don't
season
fucking
3,
care.
they got way more budget.
I don't know how you'd I don't know how you'd course correct it like from the first season. Like I don't care. The story is just so generico. The characters are all lame that I'm like, I don't give a shit. Yeah, it didn't catch my attention at all.
That's a shame.
That's all I have to say about Chucky TV Show. I literally have like nothing to say about it. It's just like I tried watching it, it sucked, and I turned it off.
Yeah,
I was just like, no thanks. Yeah,
and coming from you, like a horror guy. That's like,
but I'm a very picky horror guy. Like I am also like I went to film school, not to throw that out there, but like I have a filmic eye. I'm very critical about the stuff I'm watching. I don't just like horror because horror, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
you actually have to make a good film for me to like it, you know? Is there stupid shit that I like that's horror? Absolutely, because I like the Friday the 13th movies. Critically, viewing them critically, most of them are shitty films, except maybe one or two. You know, Nightmare on Elm Street, same fucking thing. Halloween, same fucking thing. But I have the awareness to call those entries out. You know, whereas a lot of other people are just like, yeah, I love the Chucky TV. I love the Chucky TV show. And then they blink the other way. You know, fucking alien.
Do you love Sutter Kane?
Do you love Charles Mancini or whatever the guy's name that made Chucky? I don't know his name. Something Mancini. Okay, moving on from the Chucky TV show. I got a bunch of picks. I'm not gonna try to dwell as much on. I have a tendency to overtalk on some of my picks here, so I'm gonna try not to dwell as much on these ones.
Yeah. You've got a ton of stuff, too.
I got 8 picks here. 8 picks, folks, and we're getting through them all. God damn it. Okay, I got another show for you. This is from 2021. It's a new
another
show.
2021.
Yep, another 2020. Honestly, every show on my list is from, every single one of these shows is from the last couple years.
Oh,
every pick on this list is like 2021 and onwards. Have you ever heard of a show called Physical?
You ready to do this thing?
Oh, now you've done it. She sees what a mess you are.
Actually, I feel better than I have been in a long time.
Where are you going?
Out! I've been doing aerobics classes. You should try it. You might like it. And after just one class, you can feel it happening. You becoming you again.
How long can we afford to live off our savings? We all gotta do our part.
And by we, he means you.
You ever think of hiring another teacher? If you screw this up, you're done here.
It's Kinky Bottle Blonde.
To the right. Oh, sorry, I meant your left.
I can't keep up. Blend in.
I feel like that constantly.
No.
Okay.
Is this based off of like the Body Break? Like, let's get physical.
Well, you're mixing two things. So Body Break is Body Break.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
No, that's the PSA short like commercials that would play when we were kids.
Yeah.
I don't know if they did those in the States. I don't know if that was Canadian thing. I think it was specific to Canada.
It might be only.
I don't know
Canada
if Body
only.
Break like was a thing they did in the States. And then you were confusing it with the Olivia Newton-John song.
Yes.
Let's get physical.
Let's get physical.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that, but you're on the right track actually.
So it is about this like workout
yes.
culture.
So it is from 2021. It got 3 seasons. This is an Apple TV Plus show. It is so it follows the main character is Rose Byrne plays the main character Sheila. Rose Byrne, if I bring up this actress here, you would recognize her. She's in a bunch of shit. She was in like comedy movies. She's in all the like, Insidious. Yeah. Rose Byrne. Yeah. So Rose Byrne plays the titular character Sheila, and Sheila is like this bored housewife. This takes place during the 80s.
Yeah.
Okay. It's like I think it's early or mid 80s, and she's this bored housewife that feels just like she has no purpose, no direction, like nothing to do. She's aimless. She's depressed. She wants something for herself, but she doesn't know what that is. She suffers from a severe eating disorder. Actually, she has like bulimia, which she keeps secret from her husband. Her and her husband have like a weird relationship where they don't fight, but they're not really on the same page. Like they're just off a bit. And she kind of always puts herself aside for her husband. I believe her husband is like, he has like a political campaign or something he's trying to do, and she's like trying to support him. She's trying to be like the good housewife.
So they're like upper middle class people kind of thing?
Yeah.
Okay.
And she stumbles into, like just randomly at the mall, a exercise fitness class.
Yeah.
So, and it's from that era of the neon the 80s.
The neon spandex.
The 80s exercise craze. So it's the neon spandex and the leg warmers and the high energy 80s dance routines.
10-second or 10-minute workout or whatever.
Yeah, whatever you want to call it,
Yeah.
like jazzercise. Like, but it's about the 80s exercise boom. That's
Because that was a huge thing. Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. It's the whole Jane Fonda era of like, home video exercise tapes, like workout tapes. So she stumbles on one of these classes done by this other woman. It's her class. She instantly becomes enamored with the culture and instantly latches on to the energy and the empowerment. The class is all women.
It's exciting.
It's exciting. It's high energy.
Yep.
All the women are like, taking charge. They all feel empowered. It's a very it's just a positive room to be in. She immediately becomes enamored with it. She immediately signs up, has to be a part of this.
Yeah.
Then I watched like half of the first season. Then she slowly worms her way into the other woman's business and becomes an instructor herself.
Oh, okay.
So Rose Byrne becomes like an instructor at this other woman's facility. And what follows is, and I know where the show goes. So the show lasted 3 seasons and it had actually a proper finale. Because I read up on this. It didn't actually hook me. So it had everything going for it where I wanted to love this show, but it falls short for me. And where it falls short is none of the characters are really that engaging. Like none of them are for me, I didn't connect with really anyone. Like Rose Byrne delivers a phenomenal performance. She fucking nails. Like when she puts on when she's got the big teased up hair and the spandex outfit and she's leading a class, she nails the whole like 80s workout instructor, like Jane Fonda thing. Nails it. It's perfect. Her performance is phenomenal. This is going to be a career highlight performance for her. And I love that they made this show, but the show isn't what I wanted it to be. And I've talked to other people who've watched it and they had the same reaction as me. Is what you build a show of like, this is a show about the rise of exercise videos in the 80s, and it's 80s exercise culture, and it's going to be all about that. But it's actually only just the backdrop. And really what it is, it's about a woman struggling with like eating disorders and body dysmorphia and a weird drama with her husband, and she has an affair, and it's like the 80s exercise shit really just becomes a backdrop. And what I wanted a fun show that was about that culture, and you don't really get that. It's a drama about a middle-aged woman or whatever, a woman going through like a pseudo midlife crisis, dealing with like severe mental disorders and eating disorders. So it's like
it more focuses on like the character drama and like character stuff than the overarching. Like, yeah,
what you want it to be about 80s jazzercise culture, and like I thought we were gonna like eccentric characters, and no, it's like a serious drama, and it's not particularly fun, and none of the characters I found particularly interesting. They introduced like her love interest is like the guy that owns the mall, and he's like a Mormon.
That's weird.
But he's cheating. He has an affair like with her, and he's like cheating on his wife, and I'm like,
well, when this kind of thing's done right, I feel like it reminds me of Glow.
Yeah,
Glow.
I'm so glad you brought up Glow because it's like
Glow
where,
is amazing.
Where do they get it right?
Yeah.
So Glow is a perfect example where they nail it.
1980s.
Right.
It's about a specific culture.
It's about wrestling culture. But it's about women's wrestling culture.
Yeah, and the rise of that industry.
Absolutely.
And it's a bunch of all-female characters empowering themselves and like going on this like journey.
And they're all fun, and the tone is everything. That show does have lots of elements of drama.
Yeah.
But they make all the characters endearing. They make them all interesting, and it has a lot of fun to it. That show is mostly fun. There's drama for sure.
Oh,
but
yeah.
that has a way better tone. That's an example where they got the tone right. For me, the tone of this show is way too dour and serious and not enough fun. Like most of the show is like Rose Byrne having like mental breakdowns in motel rooms and like crying and shit. And I'm just like, it shouldn't, the tone for me is all off.
It sounds like darker and more like depressing of a subject.
It's just not a fun time. Like, you know, like you see this and you see this poster and you're just like, oh wow, this is like, it's like, you know, if I showed you the trailer for this, you would literally be like, oh, this is probably going to be like a zany, exactly what Glow was, right? Where it was a kind of zany, but it was serious when it needed to be, but it was mostly just like fun. Yeah. This isn't like that. It's not. The trailer pitches you that it's going to be a fun look at 80s exercise culture, but it's not really about that at all. I don't know where they go with like the second and third season. I just know that every season, like they build upon it. So like by the end of the first season, she's like running a very successful, she basically like takes over the other woman's like exercise
probably her rise
business.
to become like a Jane Fonda type
She does,
level.
yeah, because by the end of the show, she like becomes like syndicated or has her own line of VHS tapes or some shit.
At that point.
I know that the third season is notable that Zooey Deschanel joins and she's like the rival.
Oh,
she's the rival exercise woman.
That actually sounds cool.
Her look, and I don't like Zooey Deschanel, but I'll give her credit. They redid her look and she's like bleach blonde. Which I've never seen her look like that before. And she nails like the exercise chick, like that whole 80s vibe. Like she nails it. So, and I've heard the show, it's very well received. Like it's very critically acclaimed. Like what does it have on IMDb here? It's got 7.3 out of 10. Like it was well liked and it got 3 seasons. And I appreciate I'm glad it was able to tell its story. It just wasn't for me.
Just wasn't what you were
tonally. It wasn't what I wanted. I'll also give it credit. The production values are phenomenal. Like they threw money at this. You feel like you're in the 80s. You feel like you're in the mall from the 80s. You feel like the background, the sets, the costuming, it's all like period accurate. It perfectly captures the vibe and the aesthetic of that time period.
It's always nice when they nail those things. Like if it's going to be a period production of anything, like whether it's the 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, if they like nail it and have like the cars, the clothing, all that stuff, like it will keep me watching longer than I normally would just to be like, oh, this is like gorgeous.
Right.
Like, yeah.
I'm going to give you, that's all I've got to say about Physical. I mean, watch it if what I said sounds interesting to you, because it's very well made and Rose Byrne, her acting is phenomenal, but I don't think anyone else on the show is particularly interesting. That's my problem, is like Glow had an eccentric cast of characters and they were all written so well that any one of them you could have latched onto. Yeah. Physical really only has the Rose Byrne and maybe one other character that you're going to find interesting. None of the other ones are particularly interesting.
That'd be my final question is like, there's Rose Byrne, but like the show like Glow has a whole cast of people that you're like, oh, this person and this person and this person.
And Physical doesn't have that.
They don't have like, oh, but there's this girl in the class and there's another girl that joins the class. And
I mean, I didn't finish. I got to like near the end of the first season. That was about it. But like, in my opinion, they didn't have enough of those other characters. So you want to latch on to other people, but it doesn't give you those other characters. I don't think either of the other ones particularly stand out, but I didn't finish the series. So for all I know, maybe the second season they've course corrected and fixed that, right?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. But I was very disappointed with Physical. I really wanted to love this show. And you know, I'm going to, let's talk about Glow for a second. Criminal. They didn't finish that show.
Yes. Yeah.
Criminal. Netflix, go fuck yourself. You guys are lying fucking pieces of shit. You claim that it wasn't a popular show, and you're like, oh, the numbers didn't support it, doesn't make sense, and you prematurely cancel shit. It was critically acclaimed, and look at Physical. It's from one of your rivals' fucking streaming sites. It's a very similar concept, and they gave it a fucking proper finale. So fuck you. You could have at the very least done like a 2-part movie or something like that.
Yeah.
You managed to get that insane cast and pulled those people away from other acting gigs. They all still want to come back and complete the show. Everybody's upset that it just got canceled. Like out of the no, it just got blank. Like
everyone I know loved that show.
Right.
Like my wife and I love it. All our friends loved that show.
Yeah, it was
like,
so well made, and they just were like, nah.
Pull the rug
We
out.
got we have 20 other million pilot seasons we got to start. Here's a crazy idea. Why don't you look at Apple TV, because they're kicking your ass for original content right now. I want to like gush about Apple TV for a second. Dude, Apple TV, holy fuck are they delivering the goods lately. The last couple years, like every major show that I really got into was Apple TV produced. Let's see. Physical's well made. You got Severance.
Severance was
which
incredible.
we both gushed about. I want to see if I'm going to talk about these today. Okay, no, I'm not going to talk about these. The Foundation is phenomenal.
I've heard good things.
Silo is phenomenal. Another like science fiction show, and they're big budget, and they're incredibly well acted and incredibly well produced. And the thing I like about Apple TV Plus is like they don't throw 50 things at the wall. It's like they do 5 shows, but they're all so well made, and they support them. Yeah. Whereas like you go to Netflix and it's like every year we're trying 20 different fucking original movies and original TV shows. And let me say this, your original movies fucking suck. Stop making them. Honestly, stop making these fucking stupid like, oh, we got The Rock and we got Kevin Hart and they're going to be in a thing and they're spies and derp and it's like a fucking computer pooped out this stupid script. You know what I'm talking about? The Netflix original movies fucking all suck shit. All of them. And every time I see a new one get announced, I'm like, there's $100 million. They could have finished Glow. Like literally every time I'm like, could have finished Glow with that. Like could have used that money to finish like one of your other shows. Or for God forbid, the OA, one of my favorite fucking shows. That's never coming back.
Too,
yeah, they canceled that. Every time they make a show that's like critically acclaimed, it's like, gotta get rid of that. Oh, you can't make merchandise off of it.
Couldn't they take like 10% of the Stranger Things money and just finish Glow?
Right.
Like,
yeah, I know.
Can they just be nice?
There's a whole like list of Netflix things that got canceled way too prematurely.
Oh yeah.
And I think the problem is Netflix, they produce too much shit. Like
I really like
they
that
need to
show,
take a step back.
Teenage Bounty
Hunters got that was
I
critically
really enjoyed
acclaimed.
that
It
show.
got canceled. Yeah,
canceled instantly.
Yeah.
Like instantly.
Yeah.
Like they basically put it up, and then like a month later they're like, yeah, it's canceled.
Yeah.
Like cool.
Yeah. Netflix produces too much, and it's not sustainable. And most of it is of poor quality. Dude, we got to have the next new Zack Snyder action film. We got Zack Snyder. Isn't that awesome? Zack Snyder? Like, fuck off. Army of the Dead. David Bautista's in this. Like,
I like David Bautista.
It's just crap that, like, yeah, but I don't get excited about a David Bautista film. I'm just like, whatever. Who cares? Yeah. Like, that's what Netflix's model is right now, where they like, we got Arnold Schwarzenegger. He's in a show. Is it good? Nah. Like that's their goal is like, as long as it's okay, it's palatable. It's like, they're just they want to just throw shit on the platform to shove your fat fucking face full of like content. You know what I mean? It's like, as long as you're still eating, you're going to be happy. You know,
then they made like
doesn't matter if it tastes good. As long as it tastes okay, you're happy.
The thing is, if one sticks, like that, what was that show? Squid Game? Was that them?
Yeah.
That was like,
and where's the second season?
Yeah, what's
that was
so
like
weird
5
is like,
years ago. Like seriously, when did Squid Game come out?
They'll
was
throw all
so
this
long
stuff on
ago.
the wall and see what sticks, and like Squid Game just made them like a shit ton of money.
2021, this show, the first season came out. This show is now fucking 3 years old.
Did they have a follow-up for it?
Well, they announced the season 2 immediately. It was one of their biggest shows. Like, I know what you're saying.
What I'm saying is like
their model is let's throw everything at the wall and see what sticks. But my counter to that is like oftentimes the shows that stick enough, they still cancel them anyways.
Oh, I'm not defending
they don't
that.
Support it.
I don't think it's a good model. Yeah, I just think what they're doing is they're just like throwing shit at the wall, and like most of it they'll just cancel or will fail. But then the one that does work, they'll make like $500 million off of and be like, whoa, great. Like
it all comes out in the wash. Well, speaking of throwing shit at the wall, let me talk about a Netflix TV show that sucks shit.
Sure.
Have you ever heard of 1899?
6 hours ago, we received a message. We believe this comes from the Prometheus.
You think the passengers, they're still alive?
Il a coulé. C'est la seule explication possible, sinon on l'aurait retrouvé.
Bien an den Kurs.
Capitan, we paid good money for this trip. 7 days to get to New York, no detours.
I actually watched some of this.
Oh God, yes. Okay, yes. All right.
We've hit on one we both watched.
Okay. All right. Do you want to describe the plot?
I don't think I can.
Okay.
It's like,
well, how far did you get?
I watched like 4 or 5 episodes with my wife, and like,
oh, you got way further than me.
Yeah.
Dude. I could. First episode stopped. After first episode done.
It was so frustrating that we just looked up like what it was because it's like a mystery, right?
Oh, okay. Hold on.
Okay.
Basic plot. It takes place in the year 1899.
Yeah.
So that's the name of the show.
And it's 1899. A bunch of people traveling on a ship, essentially like the Titanic.
So it's a bunch of immigrants traveling on this giant ship that's like essentially like a Titanic ship. Its sister ship, which I don't remember the name of either ship, but its sister ship got lost several months ago.
Okay.
They lost contact with it.
Yeah.
And they get a SOS signal. And the first episode is like almost a feature-length film, or at least it feels like it. It's like an hour and something.
Yeah.
And we're on this ship. It's dreary. The show is shot to look dreary. There's no sunlight. Everything's always
incredibly dark.
Everything is dark and black and dour. All of it's literally, you feel like you're on an old-fashioned like steamer ship, and it's all like a coal-powered ship, and it's all these poor immigrants that are trying to make it over, and
there's some wealthy people.
Well, we have the class system. It feels like a Titanic in that there's like all the different classes of travelers on the ship. They slowly introduce all these characters. Some are like wealthy people. Some are stowaways. Some are doctors. They all suck. It doesn't matter. No, like seriously, every character sucks. Like I think they introduced the captain. He's not interesting.
A good way to describe like the visuals of it. It's like it is on a ship, but it is very much shot like they're all in a haunted house. Do you know what I mean? That's what it feels like. It's so like dreary and almost spooky in a way. Like
so, the way it's filmed, yes, is it's filmed like a horror film.
Yeah,
it's filmed like a horror film.
Yeah.
None of the characters are interesting. None of them. I didn't find a single one of them interesting.
I can't remember.
They're all, yeah, right. You can't even remember. That's exactly it. They're all bland. They're all just kind of nothing. No one is fun and friendly in this show. Like there's no standout characters. There's no standout performances. You slowly get introduced to all these people. Everybody's miserable. The tone of this show is just like dour and bleak. And it's like, that's fun. And then the ship gets an SOS from its sister ship, which the one that was missing
disappeared.
It mysteriously vanished. So then they're like, well, this is going to delay us if we respond to this. Like the captain says to basically the wealthy paid passengers, like, we have an obligation to respond to this, but if we do, it's going to delay us like a month or something like that. And basically
it'd be significant.
And most people are just like, no, don't do it. Like, no, we want to like get there on time. Like, don't bother, you know? And then the captain's like, fuck all you people. Like, we're going to go do it. Like, we have a duty.
Because don't they see the ship too? Or they sail up?
Oh, dude, I don't remember.
I think they see it and they sail up to it and they send a boat party out, like a small little boat goes over and actually makes contact with the other ship. And if I'm remembering correctly, I think it's like mysteriously empty or something. And I don't know.
So they.
Do you remember any of this?
Yes, I do. Yeah, I do. I'm surprised you forgot. So, because you watched way more than I did. So they go to the other ship, and then it's basically ghost ship.
It's like a ghost ship.
Yeah, it's basically like the plot of like it's like yes, it's like the plot of Ghost Ship. So they go to the other ship, and then like
they find a mysterious child.
The entire ship is like torn apart. They can't find anyone. Everything is like in disarray, and then. It's like a search party, and then they find like in one of the rooms. Like,
bring this up. Who's in this? Like
that was the other thing. They're all like I didn't recognize anyone in this. Not that I need to, but it's just like a hodgepodge cast. Okay, 1899. Here it is. Let's look. Let's go to cast here for a second. So let me bring this up. Okay, who do we got? Yeah, I don't know any of these people.
I don't know.
I don't know any of these people. Mostly foreign actors, actually, from like based on their names I'm seeing here.
Well, is this a foreign production? Was this dubbed?
Oh, you think they didn't even speak English in the movie? No, or in the show? I'm pretty sure they spoke English. I don't think it was all dubbed. Or was it? And
I don't know.
The show was. I don't know. This show sucks shit. Fuck this show. Well, so the best comparison I have is so the show is insanely slow. Like criminally slow, where it's just so like you feel like you're on this voyage of the damned.
It's a multilingual German period mystery series. So I believe it actually is originally in German.
Okay, so I'm pretty certain the same production company that made this also made Dark. Have you ever heard of Dark?
Yes, yeah. I've not watched Dark, but I've heard it's very good.
Dark also sucks shit. Dark is this. So if you like Dark, you will like this, and vice versa. It is insanely slow. It's dreary and not fun. None of the characters are interesting. It just plods along. Everybody's miserable. It's Europe. It's basically Europe. It's like everybody there is miserable. There's no sunlight. Nobody smiles. Everybody just works. There's a class system. You'll never rise above your standing, whatever you're born into. If there's a mystery, it's going to be slowly unraveled. Even if your friends and family die, you're not that upset because, again, you don't feel things.
Yeah.
No, honestly.
Okay, so
fuck Dark. Fuck this show. I got nothing left to say. It's a boring, slow science fiction show.
I'm not going to diss Dark because I've not watched it.
No, diss Dark. Get on the fucking bandwagon.
I've heard it's very good. I've heard it's good.
From who? The German people?
Yes.
Yeah, all right, fine.
Okay, so 1899. The other thing I'll say is like, I vividly remember there's weird visual clues, like the doors and have the symbol on them. Do you remember any of that?
There's the triangle. It's the
symbology.
No, it's the whole thing is like the triangle. Like
I think the one character.
I think it's on the poster even.
I think the one character has like a locket or something that's like a mysterious thing.
Dude, don't ask me any of this shit.
MacGuffin.
It's literally it's like Lost on an 1899 ship. Where that's what it's supposed to be. So it's mysteries on top of mysteries on top of mysteries.
It's like Lost.
It keeps building all these mysteries.
Did you look up where it goes?
No.
Because I did.
Please tell me, reveal this. I'm assuming it has something to do with the Bermuda Triangle or some shit.
I think, it's spoilers for the show because I got kind of frustrated.
Nobody cares.
Okay.
It already got canceled. It's
already canceled?
No, that's what I'm saying.
Okay.
Netflix doesn't okay, in this case, they got it right. They should have canceled this.
Yeah.
But Netflix, this is a good example of Netflix throws shit at the wall and then people go, and then they just let it fall, you know? It doesn't hang on at all. They canceled this like immediately. It only got the one season. Or did I make that up? No, it only, one season. That was it. Yeah. Yeah. 8 episodes. It's just a single season. No, fuck this show. It was so, just nothing.
So I looked it up because I, again, was like, whatever. And I didn't want to deal with another Lost on a ship with mysterious coded symbology and messages and stuff. So it is actually a secret sci-fi show.
No, of course it's science fiction. No, of course.
So it turns out that it's all dreams or they're captured and it's all an altered reality.
Okay, sorry, yeah. I was thinking supernatural. It's it's a supernatural show, but it's actually science fiction.
Yeah, listen. So Mara wakes up alone in a starship called Prometheus, surrounded by many others that were on the Kerebos ship.
So you have to watch
placed
the entire
under
season?
Suspended animation on a computer terminal. She sees the date is 2099 and receives a message
2099.
welcoming her to her new reality.
That's the end of the show. So it ends with like a dick breaking.
Somehow it was all
like a simulation.
A simulation or a dream while they were in like cryostasis, like on a starship.
It sounds awful. Like, so you had to suffer through an entire season of like losers on a ship going like this voyage of the damned, and then all of a sudden it just pulls out. Like, that's the twist at the end of the first episode. Maybe the second episode. You don't make people watch a whole season to then deliver that. Like, no.
That's a weird twist.
That's way too well, it's too much of a twist.
Yeah.
It's like, no, the show's actually completely something else. It's like, you don't do that at the very end.
Imagine you watched a whole show that you liked.
Yeah.
Like, imagine you watch Glow, and then it's like, they wake up, and they're like, actually, we were on a starship the whole time.
Yeah.
Like,
actually, you're in, actually, this and everything you've been watching is the dream of this little boy that hit his head skateboarding. This show is actually about skate culture in the 70s in California.
yeah.
Like, what the fuck are we doing? What the hell is this? Like, okay. It's a little bit too much of a, like,
I think that's how the Chucky show ends, too. Like, as Chucky murders the main character, right as he's about to die, he wakes up. And it turns out that he was actually in cryostasis on a starship. And the year is like 2030, 72, like XX in the far-flung galaxy of Nebulon.
He's on the SS Starfleet. Starfleet! Starfleet!
Space Pilot Hagen, sir.
Space Pilot John Lee.
And I'm Barry Hercules, Doc.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so $18.99 sucks shit. So
I liked it.
I've got no, you didn't. you stopped. I can't believe you hung in that long, dude. That's
I watched a couple
painful.
episodes. Yeah, it was.
Yeah, but you were watching with your wife, so you were probably just like, you know, you probably put it on in the background so you guys could get busy. I'm guessing. I had nothing.
Yeah,
I don't
Netflix and chill.
Right? Yeah.
Cool.
Netflix and grill in your case. Yeah, I think you guys were. It was probably just background shit because it's so nothing. Although that definitely wouldn't make me horny watching 1899. Like, we don't know what's happening. Can anyone explain things? 1899.
1899.
Yeah, it's just a bunch of characters with like random artifacts and things.
Yeah. What's your next one?
I'm convinced you put this on in the background so that you and your wife could fool around. I mean, I'm going to ask her. I'm going to get confirmation on that.
Right.
No, give me one of your picks. All right. I got 5 left. Give me one of yours.
I've got an interesting one. Well, I think we've talked about this before. I want to talk about True Blood.
Guess what happened tonight? You got a date. No. A vampire came into the bar.
You know how many people are having sex with vampires these days?
You would be surprised, people you know.
Sometimes those people disappear.
Apparently there's this vampire bar in Shreveport.
Fantasia.
Fantasia?
You setting up a date with a vampire? What do you have, a death wish?
You look like vampire bait.
So are you saying you think I look nice?
If you're about to shit on True Blood, I'm gonna murder you.
I'm not gonna shit on True Blood. I think that True Blood is...
Okay, whoa. Hold on a sec. Let me just say to the audience,
okay.
You know I love True Blood.
I know so you're fond of True Blood.
Yes.
Yeah.
True Blood is probably my favorite vampire thing in popular media ever.
Thing?
No, for like movies and TV shows.
Okay.
True Blood's probably my favorite. Of
all media.
Of all media. Like of all time. Yeah, I'm on. No, other than maybe like Lost Boys. I think I like Lost Boys better than True Blood.
Okay.
But I love True Blood. It's fantastic. But hold on a sec.
Okay.
So why don't I? For those that don't know what True Blood is, why don't I quickly give? I know what you're about to do, which is shit on me for the next 20 to 30 minutes.
I'm not going to shit on you.
So. Why don't I just say what the basic plot of True Blood is?
Okay, I'll hand it over.
Would you like to? Okay.
I'll hand it over to you. You're the expert. You're the True Blood.
I've read the books.
You read the books.
Yeah, I think it's Catherine
read the
Harris.
books.
Yeah, I finished all the books too.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah. I know.
Okay.
I've read the whole book series too.
I've turned over a rock here, ladies and gentlemen.
Okay, so True Blood follows the titular character Sookie Stackhouse, who is what? What are you laughing at? Shut up.
No, continue, please.
And in the TV show, she is played to perfection by Anna Paquin. And it is a television show produced, I believe it's 2009, but let me just confirm this. It might be 2008. This show started 2008. I was very close. So it is an HBO production. It lasted, I believe, 7 seasons. And the basic premise of the show is that it takes place in the bayou. It takes place in a small town in Louisiana, in the deep south. And it is a very it's almost like the perfect setting from like what you would call like a Harlequin novel. It's hot all the time. It's steamy. We've got all these pretty people, and there's all kinds of sex romp happening all over the place. Okay, that's the backdrop of this story. And the titular character Sookie is a small town girl. She is a very pretty blonde young woman who works at like a roadhouse type bar diner, like a bar/diner. She's a waitress, and she has the gift of mind reading. She can read people's thoughts. She can hear what other people are thinking.
Is that telepathy?
Telepathy.
Okay.
Telekinetic
Yeah,
is
that's what
move
that's called.
shit. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Telepathy is hear shit. And she has a brother in town. She has some other family in town. She's got a good group of friends. She's grew up in this town her whole life. I want to look
bring up the cast.
I want to look up the town because I don't remember what it's called. Oh, I should know this, but I'm forgetting it for some reason. But it doesn't necessarily matter. But so one night, while working as a waitress, she finds one of the patrons in the bar. She cannot read his thoughts. And it is revealed that he is a vampire, which means he's undead. So he's basically, his brain doesn't actually function the way ours do. And she then learns that her entire life she's been basically like, it's a curse, the way she looks at it. She can hear everyone's thoughts all the time, and she can't turn it off. So it almost drives her insane most of the time. Imagine hearing what people are thinking about you all the time. And she's a woman. So 80% of what she hears is guys being like, oh, I'd like to fuck her. Like, she hears that nonstop, especially she works at a bar.
Yeah.
So she can't turn that off, right? But around the vampire, she can't hear his thoughts. The vampire's name is Bill, Vampire Bill, who's played perfectly by Stephen Moyer. I'll let you dunk. Just let me have my piece, and then I will let you dunk. All right. I'm not going to even say anything while you dunk on it because I know what you're going to do. Stephen Moyer, or Vampire Bill, is new to the area, and to be clear, in this universe, vampires. So there are multiple supernatural entities in this world. Okay, in this universe. So
I haven't gotten to that yet.
Yeah, because you didn't get to season.
Just
you didn't get to season 3 because season 3 is where they introduced werewolves. But this is spoiling nothing. But in this universe, there's multiple different supernatural elements. There's vampires. There's werewolves. There's like goblin/demon-esque characters. That's actually in the books, not in the show. There's other kinds of weird like nature demon monster things. There's shapeshifters.
So the whole
gamut of supernatural
elements. Yeah.
They're all in this universe. However, humans only know about vampires because vampires collectively have decided they've been around forever, like coexisting with us, but they have decided to now no longer be secret. They've decided that in order for their species to survive, they need to integrate with humanity. So I believe in this universe, it's like, this is still new. So they only started integrating like a couple decades ago. Like maybe it's been like 20, 30 years. Maybe not even that. It might even be like 10, 20 years.
I don't think it's been very long.
No, it's a brand new thing. And it's an allegory for racism is the idea.
Yeah.
Is they're supposed to be like another race, and they set that up perfectly with Louisiana, like the racist South, and the vampires are basically like the African Americans of this culture. That's the idea in this world. And most people don't like the vampires. They see them as other, they mistreat them, they're very nasty to them, they say horrible things to them, they don't want to be associated with them. There's even groups that, like militias, that want to kill them. The government and the vampire government have, like, they've made agreements that, they're going to work together, but it's still very on in the integration. That's very important. So there's a lot of kinks that haven't been worked out. And just as the humans, there's a lot of human groups that hate this idea, there's a lot of vampire groups that hate the idea. There's a lot of old vampires that think of humans as just nothing but food. Why would they want to live by man's law? They're not men. They're superior beings. And that is a very fascinating backdrop that takes place in this world. Vampire Bill and Sookie are the main characters. It is mostly a love story. It's a very schmaltzy romance type story. It takes place surrounding mostly Sookie. So it's mostly the adventures of Sookie and her slow initiation into the world of the supernatural. We also learn that Sookie herself is a supernatural. That's why she can read people's minds.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so she's not just an X-Man.
I guess that makes sense. Yeah,
she herself is actually she's half fae. A fae is like fairy, and like they can read minds.
Okay.
Yeah. And
spoilers.
Yeah, wow, it doesn't really. That's literally like season 4. They said that. So that's the basic like overview of the show. There's a bunch of side characters. Each season has a new conflict that arises. It's generally like there's a threat to the area. Like season 1, there's like a serial killer running around. Season 2, I don't remember the main antagonist of season 2, there's like a nature monster that's running around preying on the townspeople. So it's like every season there's kind of like a new threat to the area, to Sookie and her family and extended friends.
Okay.
And each one of as you go through the story, each one of those characters, they flesh out. They have their own. So Sookie's boss is a shapeshifter, Sam Merlot.
What?
Yeah,
don't spoil these things for me. I haven't watched the whole series.
That's like episode 3 or 4 they show that.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, it's early on.
Okay.
Yeah, no, that's
all
super early on. Yeah.
Okay.
That's very early on they reveal that. Yeah,
so it's not really
it's not a twist at all. No. He's a shapeshifter.
Okay.
And that's actually why. So Sookie actually is attracted to him, but because she can never quite 100% read his mind, because he's like a half breed.
Okay.
So like any of the other supernatural beings, they the Fays have trouble reading their minds.
Yeah.
So they kind of like foreshadow that there's something up with him, but you learn very on, he's a shapeshifter.
Okay.
That's the basic overview of the show. Let me say this before you dunk on it, because you're going to.
Okay.
Let me just say, it is phenomenally well produced. HBO threw a ton of money at this show. It is very well acted. The cast is great. If you want a show that is smutty and filthy and violent, this is the show. And this is why I love True Blood. And it's why it's one of my favorite vampire pieces of media ever. This is an X-rated Twilight. So it has the beats of your schmaltzy Anne Rice, interview vampire crap.
Yeah.
It has the grandiose romance shit from Twilight. It has all those beats, but it's HBO and it's fucking hardcore. And there's like hardcore nudity, hardcore fucking in this show, hardcore violence and gore, and they don't pull their punches, and it's practical and it's violent, and I fucking love it. And it's one of the only it's one of the best shows of like, you want to see vampires like killing and fucking, this is the show. And they don't hold back, and they're gonna show it to you. And the cast is all like gorgeous, perfect people. Fucking Skarsgård is Eric Northman.
Yeah, I haven't seen him show up yet.
Oh, you're nowhere in the show then. Yeah,
No.
that's like super early on. I should know his name. I feel bad. Let me just bring it up real quick. Alexander Skarsgård. I couldn't remember which one of the Skarsgård's brothers. So Alexander Skarsgård is in it. Everyone in this show is like perfect and pretty looking and just gorgeous, and they all fuck. That's literally, because it's HBO. I mean, even Anna Paquin, everything. Now, where I think, if you get into True Blood, where I think you should stop watching, because I've rewatched the show, the entirety. I've rewatched the entire series. Stop watching after season 3. So I only own the first 3 seasons.
How many seasons are there?
7.
Oh, 7.
I believe it's 7. Let me confirm that right now. I believe it's 7.
More than half the show, you're saying.
Episodes. Let me see how many seasons this is. 7 seasons too.
Okay.
Yeah, I was right. 7 seasons.
So you're saying that more than half the show is
not worth watching. It's not worth watching. Yeah, because
okay. Why is that?
And that's actually why I started reading the books, because I was like, man, the show turns to shit so quick. Because it becomes, the first couple seasons are pretty self-contained and simple, and then the show gets convoluted as fuck, and they stop following the books, and then they made shit up, and it was just all nonsensical and not fun, and it actually is more akin to like a CW show, where it's like Arrow or Flash, where every season just got more nonsensical, and you're just like, okay, whatever. Like Supernatural became like that. It just at a certain point became a zombie show, because the first couple seasons were so good, and they had such cool elements to them. They had such a great cast, such a great concept, that people kept tuning in. I mean, fuck, I watched all those shows. Like when they were new.
You watched this when it aired?
Yeah, I watched it when I started with season 2. I started with season 2, and then like I started when season 2 was new. New.
And you watched it,
then I watched it all aired, and I watched the finale when it came out, and I was also one of those people that was guilty of it, where it was like, oh, maybe they'll turn it around, like maybe they'll turn, like it kept, every season was like, it would be after season 3 that the ratio would go off. You'd have like 50% good, 50% bad. And then it was 60% bad, 40% good. And and then by the end it was 80% bad, 90% bad, 10% okay. 10% okay.
Yeah.
It got so convoluted, so stupid that they lost complete direction. They clearly just didn't know where to go. So every season just became a nonsense twist for no reason. It was like they would just, oh, now that this happens, okay, like all these like ridiculous twists, and introducing overpowered characters because they need a new big bad. Yeah. So it's like, why not? Gotcha. Like at one point, this is not in the books, they introduce Lilith, like the original vampire, shows up in like season 6.
Okay.
And she's like the origin of vampire.
Of vampirism.
Yeah. And then like her and Bill like merge into like a god being.
What the fuck?
Right. And I'm like, what are we doing? And then later on they introduce Hep V. They introduce a hepatitis that infects and kills all the vampires.
Okay.
And like even that plot line, I didn't even think it was that stupid. I thought it was an okay plot line.
That's interesting, I guess.
But then what ends up happening is like there's 2 types of vampires. There's like a big portion of I don't even want to get into it, but it's the show just gets dumber and dumber and dumber, and it starts with season 4.
Okay.
Season 4 is I'll call it the season of the witch. It's when they introduce the witches.
Oh, witches. Okay.
And it's when they just don't know where to go with any season, and all of the characters just start running in circles. Everybody's character development ends at like season 4.
Halts at 4.
It just halts, and then everybody just starts running on a treadmill, and you just get characters doing the same thing over and over, and they recycle the same plot threads over and over. It sucks. It turns to shit. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Go ahead.
All right. Back to me.
That was me. I had to gush. Before you shit on.
Okay.
Because
I'm not gonna shit on it.
I genuinely love the show. I've gushed about it before.
Yeah.
I actually have a replica bottle. Oh, in case you're wondering where the word True Blood comes from, True Blood is, in order for the vampires to integrate into society, they had to come up with something that could sustain them so they didn't have to feed on humans. Now, some humans are willing to let you drink from them, right? Like, there's humans and there's humans that have like interracial relationships with vampires, and like the vampire is obviously going to feed on them. Sookie starts dating Bill and he feeds on her, right? But the vampires actually don't need to drink human blood to sustain themselves. They create a synthetic blood called True Blood. That's the name of that's where that title comes from. Yeah. And actually, I don't think the book series is called True Blood. I think it's called
something else.
Yeah, it's called like Dead by Daylight and Dead by Dawn or something like that.
Okay.
It has a very specific naming convention for the book. I read those books like 10, 12 years ago.
Yeah.
I read them when after the show turned to such shit. I was like,
yeah.
where do the books go?
You're like, I'm still a fan, but I want to like see.
I want to see these characters do things that make more sense. and True Blood's ending is one of the you want to talk about bad endings? Dexter's ending sucks shit. True Blood's ending sucks even like just as bad.
Just terrible.
It's just terrible. Where you're just like, whatever. Like just it limps past like over the finish line.
Yeah.
And like it's just that last season was painful to watch. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
What did you think?
I have started watching True Blood again. This is maybe the second or third time because I think that True Blood, the episode 1, the first episode of this show, is one of the funniest like TV episodes ever made. I think that this, like, in terms of like comedy,
you've said this to me before. I remember this.
Is fucking hilarious.
So wait, did you just start watching it again?
Yeah. I've watched like the first 2 episodes.
Because this was like a year ago. You had this little talk with me where you were like, dude, is True Blood a comedy? And I was like, it. And to be clear, tonally, I would say it's got a lot of comedic elements, but it's mostly a romance schmaltzy drama. Mostly. But now, right.
I think that this is, I don't know if it's intentional or not. That's the thing. Like, I don't know how much intention is placed on like comedy, but intentional or not, it's fucking hilarious. And I think that like even as stealth comedy or whatever, the first 2 episodes of this show are just perfection. And I've watched them several times now. Like I'm like, you got to see this, and like showing this to some friends. I've watched it like again with my wife, and we just like are dying of laughter. I don't know, like I guess you could take it seriously, but I just think there's so much like maybe even unintentional comedy.
Your thing is like, were they in on the joke?
Yeah, I don't like. That's what I'm fascinated by. As you're
and
watching
I don't think
it,
they
you're
were.
like,
I think it's unintentionally
I'm like, are they
funny.
Yeah, like
no, I think they were seriously.
Do they intend to deliver the lines like this? Do they intend to film it like this? Do they intend to like cut like this? Like, so yeah, we open and just like you described, you basically gave the big rundown. But even like we open and there's like rednecks driving down the road, and they're like, "Hold up, honey! There's like this convenience store selling True Blood. We got to try and buy some of that. I heard it makes you real horny." And like. It right off the bat, it's just like we've got a whole cast of people doing bad Southern accents. I can't believe that any of them are actually Southern. Maybe a few actors.
Yeah,
are.
probably not. Yeah,
but
I mean,
for the most part,
usually
of them,
when people do like the Louisiana like
they're all
accent,
just doing some brand of like terrible Southern American accent,
right?
Including Paquin and all these people. Like
I thought her accent was okay, but what do I know?
I'm Sookie Stackhouse. Like they're all doing.
I
like,
thought hers was fine.
I don't know. It adds an element of cheese to everything.
People have accents.
Like, I know, but not these people.
Stephen Moyer's like Bill is like Australian. Or
it's hilarious. Right? Yeah, he's like I'm Bill the vampire. Like it's just like what? This like impossibly like handsome, just like soap opera drama guy just wanders into the bar and he's like, "Sucker. Sookie Stackhouse. Like, it's like what he's doing. Like, he always sounds like a bad Elvis or something.
Or he's like Australian.
But he's in real life, I think he's Australian.
Yeah.
Oh my God. And just like the way it's cut and shot, her friend Tara is like
she's the troubled, like, comes from a broken home. My mom's a drug addict.
Yeah, but even my
mom's a drunk and
it's so over the everything feels like
she's
so
the
over
chronic,
the top.
like, I'm always getting into trouble.
Yeah.
Trouble follows me.
So we have this, like, she's like, we open on her getting fired from her job. And she's like, I don't need this fucking job anyway. And, like, it's just like such a hilarious scene because, like, there's a lady come in, she's like looking for tarp or something. She's like, well, we don't sell that. And, like, it's just like, so it's like, is this supposed to be comedic? Is this supposed to be funny? I can't tell. And that makes it even funnier.
Right.
And then, so she's friends with Sookie and she's like, needs a job. So she gets hired at the bar by the bar owner. And
Sam Merlot.
He's like, well, I don't have time to train you. And she's like, oh, don't worry. I've been mixing whiskeys for my mama since I was in grade 1. It's like, what? Like, is this a joke? Or am I supposed to take this seriously? Like, and then Sookie is just like, another, like, just so over the top. She's like, oh, like, I've been working at this bar. They don't even have
that. See, comedy is not listed on IMDb.
That's so
it says
fascinating.
Drama, fantasy, mystery. That's what I'm saying. Is like, I think it's unintentionally funny.
Yeah, and so we see Sookie, like you described, she's working at the bar and she can hear people's thoughts, and obviously all, like, the thoughts are cartoonishly vile.
Right.
Like, it's like, I'd like to fuck her. Yeah. It's like, that's like just like so, again, over the top. It's
that's
so
what
hilarious.
people would. That's if you could actually hear people's minds. That's what you'd be hearing and shit like that.
And then obviously, she meets Bill and she saves his life because there's these, like, meth head people that come in and they're like, if you capture a vampire, you can steal their blood and sell it for money. They try to drain them.
Vampire blood is actually extremely valuable because it's sold as a drug called V, and it gives you a euphoric state.
It's basically like meth, right?
Well,
like,
it's more like a super amphetamine. And it's like also Viagra. It's like,
oh really?
Yeah. Okay, so it's like you become like insanely. You basically get what a vampire would have. You get like it gives you like a fraction of what they have all the time. Which so you get like heightened senses. It heals you. You get a euphoric. If you take a lot of it, you get a euphoric state. It makes you like sexually aroused. It's like. It's like fucking whatchamacallit. What's the drug where they party and fuck on? Ecstasy.
Okay.
It's like ecstasy rolled in like, something else.
Anyway, I have so much to talk about just on this first. I think this is an amazing first episode, but maybe not for
not in the way that. I want to say, because I think most people are going to get the impression like, why does Justin like this stupid show? Let me just say, I'm not dumb. I understand the show is very cheesy, schmaltzy, romancy crap. I'm saying it works for me because they have hardcore. Like,
there's tons of sex and
hardcore sex and hardcore gore and violence. It's ultra gory and it's like hyper violent, and that's why it works for Justin. But I know what it is. But I'm also the same person that likes Nightmare on Elm Street and Friday the 13th.
Yeah.
So if you do, if I am willing to accept schmaltz and cheese done well, and this is that for me.
Okay, so let me just fire through some
go for it.
Great moments and scenes. So again, it's so fucking over the top. Like, she confronts these people that are trying to capture Bill and steal his blood. And the lady's like, you're a fucking cunt. And like, it's so filthy. They're swearing at each other. Yeah. It's like from 2008. So there's just no holds barred.
No,
like,
they could say, this is like Deadwood era. Like they could say anything.
Some of the dialogue is heinous. And again, it feels so like out of left field because you're like, what did they just say? She rescues Bill. And then we also learn that she has this brother who I think is like Jason. Yeah, and he's hilarious. He's this like smoke show guy, but he has such a dumb expression.
He's also Australian, I believe. He's
also doing a terrible Southern accent. He is just amazing. Like, he's chewing up the scenery with every scene he's in.
He is a doofus.
Oh,
He
I
is
love
the
him. Yeah,
prototype jock doofus.
He's like the dumb, like blank jock doofus.
Yeah.
And he is like just constantly fucking all over town.
Yes,
like
yeah.
every
He's
episode.
also the
he's
also the
driving.
town. Yeah, he's the town whore. He literally
he's driving around to just bang everyone's wives or
Yes,
girlfriends
yeah,
or whatever.
right.
It's like, okay. And he
Well, do you want me to spoil why that is?
No. I don't want any spoilers. Like,
Really? Okay.
No, I legitimately don't.
They actually explain why women find him so attractive.
Okay, sure.
Well, he's like a really attractive guy.
Yeah.
But
I'm sure he's supernatural or something then.
well, so one of the things with Sookie is people find her insanely attractive. Yeah, she's Anna Paquin when she's hot, obviously, but Fays are extremely attractive to humans.
Oh,
so
okay. Of course.
they touch on that because Jason is part Fae. He doesn't have the mind reading or any of that shit. He doesn't ever get any of that stuff. But because he has that in him, they explain it more in the books. It makes him extremely desirable to women. Yeah. So that they actually do explain that a little bit. Because he's a smoke show guy, but he's also a dumb moron.
Yeah. Okay, so he gets wrapped up in a plot where this girl that he's like seeing, she's had sex with a vampire.
Right.
And he's like, what was it like? And it's like, just like, it's so fucking funny because he's like, well, like, describe it to me. And he's like simultaneously disgusted by it, but also like intrigued by it.
Right.
And then, they're just amazing lines. Like he's having sex with her later and he's like, you'd let a dead guy fuck you? And like, just amazing line deliveries. He becomes enamored with the whole idea of like, the sexual aspects of vampirism and stuff. Anyway, we finally return home to the Stackhouse family house, and it's her and her brother and her like over the top Southern grandma,
grandmother.
Like, oh, Sookie, blah blah blah. And
because you find out that their parents died when they were young.
I guess
when they were kids. Yeah, their parents were killed.
Yeah, and it's just like unintentional comedy galore because like. She's trying to explain to her grandma that she's like met someone and she's like, oh, well, I don't really know a whole lot about this whole vampire thing. And it's almost like, again, it's an allegory for black people. I've met someone, but he's black.
Yeah,
and
that's what it is.
Well,
yeah,
I don't know about this.
That's literally what it is. Yeah.
And then
because Sookie starts having a relationship with a dead man.
Yes.
And everyone reacts as if it's like it's like an interracial thing. Yeah.
But it's so different. There's a difference between just like someone being of another like skin color or race and just being like
a monster,
an occult supernatural demon monster.
Well, I think it's clever. I think it works personally.
Yeah. So then she's describing like
and also to be clear, there's racism in the show too. It's in the South. Yeah.
So she's describing it and like they like generally vampirism to her grandma, and she's like, oh well, like I don't really understand this, and they're like, yeah, some people even have sex with the vampires. And it's like, why are you describing this to your grandmother?
Yeah.
And like Jason is standing off in the corner of the room, and she's like, women having sex with vampires? She's like, I don't know what would make someone want to do that. And he's like, they do it for money. She's like, oh my God, I don't know, like why. How much would someone pay for something like that? And he's like, $1,000.
He knows all the details.
So he knows all the details. So it's like, that's so fucking funny. And then they kind of turn to him and he's like, anyway, I should go. It's like, what? Like long pause?
Yeah.
Like he's like revealed too much. He kind of like, his eyes like blank out and he's just like thinking and he's like, oh shit, like I've
said too much.
I've revealed too much and I'm like intrigued by this like vampire sex.
Right.
And then he's just like, oh, I should leave. It's like, what is this? Again, not listed as a comedy.
No,
this show.
No, I don't.
But fucking hilarious.
There is some legit jokes in the show.
Yeah,
they do have some funny things in it. The intro, I love the intro though with the fake out.
Yeah,
with the guy behind
redneck vampire.
The guy behind the counter pretends to be a vampire.
Yeah,
and then the actual vampire shows up.
Yes,
and then he threatens them, which is great.
Even they have the cliche like a dog shows up, and it's like Sookie's like, oh, that's just the dog that's been hanging around. I've been feeding him, and he's been hanging around the bar. And then he shows up in the second episode and rescues her, like a Lassie moment. Do you remember that?
Do you want me to? explain that?
Sure, but it just feels it feels like a
no.
meta cliche joke,
right?
It's
but
like,
it's not.
That's just a dog.
Yeah.
And it's like, of course, that fucking dog is gonna come back.
No, but do you want me to explain the dog?
Sure.
Do you want me to spoil this?
Okay.
The dog is Sam.
What?
Yeah, because he's a shapeshifter.
He's the bar owner?
Yes. Yeah. And that's why the dog's looking after Sookie, because Sam likes Sookie. Sam has a thing for Sookie. Yeah. Yeah.
Holy fuck.
Yeah, Sam's a shapeshifter. Yeah, and he's the dog. So he's looking after Sookie because he's watching.
But because we don't know that.
No, right. You
it
just have
just
this
seems
dog.
like
They just set up a
she's
dog.
like, oh, that's just a dog that like hangs around. And then like 2 scenes later, she's like, the dog rescued me. It's like, what the fuck is this?
Dude, dogs do that sometimes. Dogs are good dogs.
Set up and payoff. It's so blatant.
Right.
It's like, again, did the writers are they just like masters of comedy? Like, are these like the Harvard Simpsons writers of like fucking, you know what I mean? So, what else? Bill rescues her from a vampire attack,
please.
And then she has to drink his blood to heal herself because she's attacked.
Yeah, because vampire blood heals you.
Yes.
It also it gives you like heightened senses and shit.
He rescues her, and then he like licks blood off of her forehead, and then he's like cradling her in his arms. She's like drenched in blood, and he's like, "Can I ask you a personal question?" And she's like, "Bill, you just licked blood out of my forehead. I don't think it can get much more personal than that." Like, this is one of the fucking funniest shows I've ever seen in my entire life.
Well, keep watching.
It's fucking amazing.
Well, then keep watching.
I could go on, but like,
how far in? Because
I maybe watched 3 episodes.
This was like a year ago. You said this to me. You were like, "Is True Blood secretly like a brilliant?
I think
comedy?
It's secretly a brilliant comedy. I legitimately, I'm not trying to dunk on it in that sense.
You think the creators were self-aware enough? They're like, yeah, no, we're making this secretly funny.
Oh, I think so. Yeah. There's another sequence where she invites Bill over for a date to meet her grandma for the first time.
Yeah, I remember. It's like episode 2 or something.
And the grandma's intrigued because he's so old that he can reveal information about the Civil War to her for her like history society,
which I thought was a neat plot point.
Yeah, that's a neat plot point. So they're having like their first dinner together at the family house, and Jason is like he's racist or mistrusting of. He's like, oh, I don't want this like dead person.
I don't want this black man dating my sister.
So he's being like bigoted, I guess, towards Bill, and like he's like, how could you let this happen, Grandma? Like, you shouldn't even let him come over here. Like the grandma's like, you gotta respect me, boy. This is my house. And then she's like, I'm the eldest. I'm the grandmother here. Like, this is my home. And then Bill like interjects. He's like, actually, Mrs. Stackhouse, I'm the oldest one here. And then they're like,
which is true.
And then it cuts to Jason's face. And as they're laughing, he's like making a fucking like, he's like mocking that they're all laughing at his joke.
So why did you start watching it now?
Oh, because it's so funny.
But that was like a year ago. So I'm saying, when did you start watching this again? Like a couple weeks ago?
A week or 2 ago, yeah.
You guys started again.
Yes, because we're like, you know what? We need a new show.
True Blood, buddy. It's all on Netflix, I think, right?
It's all on Netflix.
Yeah.
Or no, sorry, it's Crave.
Crave, it's on Crave, yeah. It was all on Netflix at one point.
There's 7 seasons of it. It's high production, like you said. It's HBO.
Very well made. Very well made.
I think
even the CG, it's mostly practical when they do the vampire shit, because like
I want to ask you,
all of the vampire effects are really good. Like they fly.
Yeah.
It looks really good. They have super speed. It looks great. A lot of it's practical though, like blood and guts, like an Evil Dead movie.
The intro is great.
Oh, I love that intro.
I want to do bad things to you.
It's got an incredibly creative and artistic intro with a very like the song perfectly sets up the tone of the show.
Oh yeah,
this is a sleazy, smutty vampire show. You know?
Another plot point I want to talk to you about. So I think it's the first and second episode. Jason has sex with this woman who has been seeing a vampire,
Right.
And they have kinky sex.
Yep.
And he's like choking her.
Yeah, and then she gets
And then she fake out dies.
Yeah.
Like he thinks that he's killed her.
He thinks he killed her. Yeah.
And
he thinks he's a murderer.
So he's like, "Oh no," and like runs away. And then the cops show up the next day, like at his work site, and they're like, "Why don't you come with us?" Like they reveal that she had recorded
their sex. And then it shows her wake up and she's fine. Yeah.
Yeah. And it shows that she was playing like a prank on him.
Yep. But then somebody
in actuality,
actually did murder her.
Later in that evening, someone actually did murder her. So it's still a murder investigation.
Yeah, the first season's a murder mystery.
Yeah. But it's so fucking funny because like one of the detectives is
the detectives in this are so good.
He's like an old actor. He's from Blade Runner. The little short guy is the nerdy character from Blade Runner that's like,
I didn't know
I
it was
don't know.
that guy.
Yeah.
Oh, that's interesting.
I can't remember his name.
Blade Runner connection.
Yeah, but he's amazing. And like they sit and make him watch his own sex tape with this woman that he believes he's murdered. And it's so fucking awkward and weird. Only to reveal that she didn't die. And he's like, "You made me sit through that whole thing? You made me wait 48 hours thinking I've murdered someone?" It's like, what the fuck? It is hilarious. But at the same time, the second he realizes that he didn't kill her, he's like, "Whoa, I'm off the hook. Amazing." Like, and just goes right back to just like fucking around
random,
town.
Yeah,
and
fucking
just, like,
around town, right.
He's like, "Whoa,
yeah.
like skin, like no skin off my back." But it's like,
dodged a bullet there.
Dodged a bullet there. Ooh, I guess I'm in the clear. But like, no, God damn it. If you think about it, okay, he had sex with this woman, choked her, and then he thinks that she died. So he flees the scene, doesn't mention it to anyone, and then just hopes that it will blow over.
Yeah, but he's Jason. He's irresponsible. That's
so. In other words,
character.
he's a murderer. Like in all, like yes, he didn't technically murder her, but they just brush past the fact that he like.
Yeah, that's him. Yeah, right.
He would have gotten away with murder.
He would have been like, "Oh shit, I accidentally killed her. I'm gonna run now from this."
So he's a monster.
Jason is he's an irresponsible.
If you actually think
child.
about someone doing that in real life, that's horrific. But they're just like, whoops.
Well, he's a man-child that doesn't own up to his shit. Yeah, that's what he is. Yeah.
That's so weird. And
so you guys are watching this again.
Yeah,
this is interesting.
Yeah.
I don't know how. I can tell you right now. So critically, I say stop watching after season 3.
Okay.
Season 1 and 3 are really good. Season 2 is a little rough.
Oh,
Season 2 has in my opinion, a really lame antagonist from the second season.
Okay.
They introduced a new type of creature, like a new supernatural thing.
There's also
I don't think even the actor who plays it's like, season 2 is whatever.
Yeah, I'm excited for Skarsgård.
But the cool thing is season 1 or season 2 at least expands the world. Every season, the scope of the show gets bigger.
Yeah, I'm genuinely looking forward to that.
You get introduced to more and more of the vampire community. You get more vampires. You meet Eric Northman, who is one of the biggest like fan favorites in the show.
He's Skarsgård.
That's
right?
That's Alexander Skarsgård.
Let me put it this
perfect.
way.
He borderline makes that show. His performance is so good.
I'm so excited.
Yeah, as Eric Northman, he nails the cool, tall. Like a lot of the humor I found came from him.
Oh, I'm so excited.
He gets all the dry humor lines because he becomes enamored with Sookie. And
of course,
that's the love triangle is Bill, Eric, and Sookie.
Amazing.
Yeah. It's good.
Let me put it this way. I think that like the first 2 or 3 like episodes of True Blood are as funny, if not funnier, than like What We Do in the Shadows.
But unintentionally. I mean, if you like that, you might as well just finish the whole show because it's only going to get funnier according to your like.
I also love that every character interaction and like relationship is just a bottomless well of comedy, and I think the fact that the bar owner is like secretly in love with her is also fascinating. And then again, I did not know that he was secretly a shape-shifting dog. That's fucking amazing.
Season 3.
There's another funny moment that my wife and I were dying at where she's waiting outside the bar at night to meet Bill.
Yeah.
Because he's like, "Why don't we meet after you get off your shift?" And Bill comes out and he's like, "Oh, hey, Sookie, like, do you want me to wait around too? Like, it's not safe." And she's like frustrated with him at that moment. And she's like, go home, Bill. And he just like turns and he's like dejected and like walks 3 feet to like this trailer that's just parked like across the road. So it's so funny, like the comedic timing of it. She's like, go home, Bill. And you think he's going to like get in his car and drive away or something. But no, he like turns, takes three steps.
No, I think you're talking about Sam.
Oh, fuck. Sorry. Sam. Okay.
Bill, I was like, Bill doesn't have the trailer.
Not
You're
Bill.
talking about Sam because Sam lives in a trailer.
He lives in a trailer right next to the bar.
Right next to the bar. So when she says go home to him is 3 feet away.
Yeah. So she's like, go home, Sam. Like, and he's like, oh, okay. And walks 2 steps into a trailer.
Right.
It's like, what the fuck? And then she proceeds to get attacked, and that's where she gets attacked and Bill saves her.
Right.
But she's being violently assaulted in the parking lot. He lives 2 feet away in this trailer. Did you not hear? He hears nothing. You didn't see anything.
As someone that lived in a trailer for a very short time, those things are perfect soundproof. Dude, an atom bomb could go off. You wouldn't hear that shit. You'd sleep comfortably through the night.
Anyway, it's just I love it.
It's a riot.
It's a riot. Yeah.
You're gonna have to give me a follow up on this at some point to tell me like when you guys were like, okay, the joke's not funny anymore. Like now we can't. Now it's just annoying.
Oh, we didn't even talk about the hypersexual, super over the top
Lafayette.
Gay chef.
Lafayette.
At the bar.
He's amazing. That actor. He's dead too.
What the fuck?
He tragically died young. He died
that's horrible.
He died like 5-6 years ago. Yeah.
If there's anyone who's like perfect in the show, it's him.
I'm gonna bring up his name because I want to give him his flowers here.
Lafayette.
Lafayette is that's the name of his character. Nelson Ellis.
Oh, he's incredible.
Incredible. He's so good in this show. Yeah. I've never seen him in anything else. The cast is honestly phenomenal. Everyone's good. Deborah Ann Wool, who is the love interest in Daredevil.
Oh,
she's in the show.
She
hasn't shown up yet. I won't spoil who she is. She's a major character. You haven't met. Oh God, there's so many characters you haven't met yet, man.
Yeah.
The other.
Oh, it's also there's a hilarious sequence again in the first 2 episodes where Jason, he's having sex with another woman. I think she's another waitress at the bar, and she's frustrated with him, so she ties him to her bed, and then just like goes to work.
Oh right, just leaves.
And he's like, "Oh, you can't do this to me." Yeah, it's like so he's trapped, tied to this bed frame.
Right.
And then like it cuts, and like later in the episode, they're like, "How's Jason?" And she's like, "Oh, he's tied up right now," or something like that.
Stupid
and
throwaway
it's like
line.
it's been like 8 hours. Like she worked a full shift. So the idea is that she was fine. I think he escapes, but
still, she had no problem with him just being tied up
to a fucking bed for 8 hours of like a work shift. Like she's like, "That's funny." It's like, what the fuck?
God forbid he had to like take a leak or something. Just pisses the bed.
It's like torture, basically. Yeah. Amazing. I love it. Yeah.
That's True Blood.
That's True
All right,
Blood.
that's the end of the episode, folks. Right. Watch it for the reasons I like it, or watch it for the reasons he likes it. I guess we're both recommending True Blood.
Yeah, we're both recommending
but for different reasons.
Yeah.
But okay, I have a bunch more shows here. I'm going to go a little bit rapid fire.
Yeah.
Okay. I watched from 2021 Reservation Dogs.
You're good thieves. Best in town.
Oh, thank you.
It is a small town.
Tell your friends. I don't have any. Go get some then.
Okay. We could be in California as soon as 2 months.
California, here we come.
You and your thuggy ass friends. What are you gonna fight for?
I watched like a few episodes of this. Yeah. I've heard it's very critically acclaimed.
It's very critically acclaimed. I think it just finished or is finishing. It's getting a finale.
Yes.
I saw this on Disney Plus. It's an FX production.
Yep.
It follows. It's like a coming of age comedic / dramedy show that takes place on a reservation.
Yep.
And it follows 4, 5-ish, but like this group of children-ish. They're like teenagers.
Yep.
It's like a group of teenagers Native Americans, whatever the term you want to use, whatever the correct term is, on an actual reservation in the States, right? I don't think it's Canada.
It's been a while since I
don't
watched
actually
like
know.
a few.
I think it's the States. I think it's the States. Oh, I don't think it'll say. Oh, I think it's Oklahoma.
Oh, is it?
I think, if I remember correctly. Whatever. You can look that up while I'm going through.
Yeah, I'll look it up while you're.
It is. It's a fun, sweet show that really gets into like reservation life. I'm glad the show exists. I think it does a very good job portraying that culture, and
it is Oklahoma to cut in.
I don't know how I knew that, but I just
and it's
remembered.
also created by Taika Waititi.
Yeah, I knew Waititi was in it.
I
Taika Waititi was like one of the. He either wrote it or co-produced it or something.
Yeah, I think he co-created it.
Yeah, co-created it. I'm glad it exists. It does a very good job representing that culture. It does a very good job, like, you know, giving voices to a minority group and giving them their own platform. And, you know, it has a ton of things in it that are like anyone who is of Native American descent or lived on a reservation. Or
I think the entire cast is Native American as well.
Right.
Yeah.
Everyone in it. Everyone, almost all the actors in it. And so it's very authentic. And they do a fantastic job. Like, one thing the show does that I appreciate is it doesn't shy away from using terminology that is prevalent in that community. Like I think is it shit ass? They always say it all the time.
There's slang and lingos that they use.
But they don't explain it to you. They're just like, no, they just use it because that's what they would use. Or like, I had to look a few of these things up. Like owls, apparently it's like you're not supposed to look in owl eyes or like bird eyes.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, that's like a big thing is like eyes in Native American culture. So like every time they would have like an owl on the screen, it would always blur out its eyes.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, there's like interesting things like that. The tone is very coming of age. It's very dry though. It's very like dry wit. It's not like immediately funny. It's just like a slow kind of funny, dry humor.
It felt to me, I think I watched the first episode, maybe the second episode. It felt to me like the genuine article. Like it's coming of age. It's all real cast. This is a real place.
Yeah.
It's showcasing like a real community and the fun and sadness and drama of their lives.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
It's fucking awesome.
It's very, very well made. I understand why it's so beloved. It wasn't for me. It wasn't for me. It's for me when it didn't hook me. It just didn't. I didn't bond with the show enough where I'm just like, I can't get enough of this. And I didn't. Same thing with the characters. It just wasn't for me. I'm the wrong audience for it, but I think it's very well made, and I do recommend it.
I definitely will be watching it. I think when it came out, I watched the first episode and I was like, oh, this is cool. And then for whatever reason, just never returned to it.
For me, it's not funny enough for me to watch it as a comedy. Comedy is so subjective. It's such a hard thing to nail. Like you're not going to please everyone. I don't find it funny enough for me to want to invest time to watch it as a comedy, and I don't connect with it enough to watch it as a drama. So it doesn't work for me. Yeah. I don't find it particularly funny.
I did really I really enjoyed the spirit character. Did you get that?
Yeah,
far?
the one. No, that's like episode 1.
Is that episode 1? Okay.
I watched the first season.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And then I just
that's a great character. The ghost guy that keeps showing up. Or
one of the teenagers, the main male teenager, he in the friend group, he sees like his spirit ancestor. Yeah, which they make fun of that whole thing of like, well, what would it be like now if you had a spirit guide in like modern times? Yeah, and he's kind of like an inept spirit guide. Yeah. And he does a lot of like weird things. Yeah.
But yeah,
it's pretty good. It's well made. Yeah, I don't have a ton to say about it.
I think it's won a ton of awards too.
Oh yeah, it's like critically acclaimed. I see why. It just isn't for me. I thought it was a little too dramatic, not quite funny enough. I don't think the humor really lands. I think it's just a little too sappy at times, and I don't connect with the material enough for me to want to watch it as a drama. So
okay,
yeah. Are you gonna? Yeah,
I will be.
You're
watching
only a couple
it.
episodes
in.
Yeah.
I'll be returning to it.
Yeah. Okay. The next one, I'm sure you've never heard of this.
Oh, really? Okay.
Because one of the things that I love to do, one of my favorite things about, like, I watch, out of the two of us, I without a doubt watch more than you do. Because I'm a demon.
Way more.
One of my favorite things to do is find obscure movies, obscure TV shows that are critically acclaimed. And I love looking for just these little random things that are like, what is this? You know? Have you heard of Under the Banner of Heaven?
A woman and her 15-month-old child were murdered in their home. We aren't a community that usually locks its doors. The evidence points to things and to beliefs that I have only ever heard whisperings about.
I don't go digging in the past. And neither should you.
No.
Yes. All right. Let me bring this up.
It sounds like a fantasy or like a, I don't know, historical drama or something.
So Under the Banner of Heaven is a miniseries, also produced by FX, which I did not know that. This is from 2022.
So this is pretty new.
Oh, this is brand new. Okay. It is actually based on a true story. So it is like a biographical miniseries drama.
Okay.
It is a drama. It's a murder mystery. Listen to this cast. Andrew Garfield is the main character.
Okay.
Sam Worthington is one of the main characters.
Oh, wow.
From fucking Avatar.
Yeah.
He hasn't done anything since like Avatar. Seriously, like his career was about to explode after Avatar, and then you look at his filmography, he did like nothing from like 2010 till like 2018. Like there was like a big pause where like his career just never took off because they waited too long to do another Avatar movie, and then none of the other things that the projects they made around him, like Clash of the Titans and Terminator Salvation, none of those were all flops.
That's right. Yeah.
That's Sam Worthington. Wyatt Russell, who is Kurt Russell's son.
Oh shit. Okay.
Do you know about this? Wyatt Russell is Kurt Russell's son.
I didn't know that.
Okay, let me show you what he looks like, and then you might be like, "Oh, I've seen this guy." Have you seen this guy in other? He's popping up in all kinds of movies.
He looks like Kurt Russell.
He's starting to pop up in movies and TV shows now.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, I've seen his face many times now where I'm like, who the fuck is this guy? And then I just realized he's in like his filmography.
Anything.
Yeah, but he's getting very big. And then I realized recently that it's actually Kurt Russell's son. Rory Culkin is in this. I know you love Succession.
I do.
And you
love
like
Succession.
Kieran Culkin.
Yep.
Did you know there was another Culkin brother?
I didn't know that there was another one that was acting.
Rory Culkin, who he's not in a lot of stuff. He's kind of a weird looking guy. He doesn't have the cutesy face that his brothers do.
Yeah. There's so many Culkins.
He's actually the little boy.
Shane, Dakota, Macaulay, Kieran, Quinn, and Christian.
Yeah, there's a ton of them. Yeah. Rory Culkin is the little boy in Signs that has the asthma.
Oh shit.
It's that kid.
Okay.
Yeah, he was also a child actor because their father was a monster like Joe Jackson and just forced them all into entertainment.
Forced them into entertainment.
So Rory Culkin is in this. The cast is phenomenal. The acting is phenomenal. It is a really interesting, engaging story. So I don't know exactly when it takes place. I don't think it was a period piece. I think it's supposed to be like the 2000s, but it might have been like the 90s or something. Like it's not super old. It is a murder mystery. So Andrew Garfield is the main character. He is a detective trying to solve a murder in this small religious community. It is an LDS. You know what that means?
Latter-day Saints.
Yes, you do know what that means. It is an LDS / if you want to call it Mormon community. So there's a murder.
So this is in like Utah or whatever, probably.
Exactly.
Okay.
It's in that area. It might actually be Utah. I don't remember 100%, but it's like one of the more prominent areas where there's an LDS community.
Yeah.
And one of the flock gets brutally murdered. A woman and her child.
And the child.
Are brutally slain. And that's how the show starts. And then,
so this is like, sounds like True Detective, but in like a Mormon community.
Yes. That's basically the show. It's
this sounds awesome.
It's like True Detective, and every episode's slow roll. So
such a tight-knit religious community would be
shaken with such a thing,
but also hard to penetrate if you're looking for the truth, because like, you know what I mean?
So what the show does brilliantly is it simultaneously like obviously whoever wrote this really respected that religion and that group, because it simultaneously respects them and pays the respect to it, but also criticizes them where necessary.
Okay.
So it comes from, like, it doesn't feel like it's shitting on that religion. It's very, like, neutral in that regard. But there are elements of that church that bear being criticized, and they don't pull their punches on that shit. So what happens is, as Andrew Garfield is carrying out his...
Is he an outsider? Is he...
No, he's an LDS.
Oh, he is an LDS.
He's an LDS, him and his family. As he's slowly trying to solve this mystery and gets closer to the Mormon community, like the LDS community, because the murder surrounds this one particularly prominent family in the LDS community. That's like this very powerful, wealthy family that like had a huge like compound, and that's the matriarch, like the main son of that family is Sam Worthington, and Wyatt Russell and Rory Culkin are like his like younger brothers.
Oh, okay.
And they're like, and they're
the patriarch.
Well, they have an overbearing father that's like just this complete fucking monster. And I can't remember the actor's name. He's an interesting actor. I'm not seeing him on the IMDb here, but he's a foreign actor who was, I would say, most prominently from Hell on Wheels, which you never watched.
I've never watched Hell on Wheels.
He was one of the main antagonists in that. I've seen him pop up in a few other things. He's a phenomenal actor. And he is like, he delivers this menacing, like haunting performance as like the patriarch of the family. And like there's tension between him and his like head son. And then there's tension between the two sons of like who should be the one to lead the flock. And the way the show plays out is we're with Andrew Garfield, we're at the current time. And then anytime it shows the family, it's mostly flashbacks.
Oh, interesting.
So you're seeing how things played out with them. And they slowly reveal the drama and conflict within this family in the LDS community.
Yeah.
While Andrew Garfield's getting closer, he is trying to solve what's going on now, and they slow roll it, and he actually gets pushback from his own church to not pry into other LDS members. Andrew Garfield himself actually starts having, he has a crisis of faith. And he actually starts questioning the LDS because he learns things about the Mormon faith that he didn't even know, like about their dark history. And the show is very informative. So I learned a lot of things about that faith and that like belief, that religion that I didn't know. And they get into like, have you ever heard of, so there's LDS. Have you heard of FLDS?
No. Yeah.
So that is Fundamental Latter-day Saints.
Okay,
and that is actually
fundamentalism.
Yeah, so that is actually a big division in that community, to the point where a lot of LDS people look down on FLDS people and vice versa, because it's to broad stroke it, and this is very like, give me a grain of salt here with what I'm saying, but fundamentalists are the polygamists and LDS is not.
Okay,
so
gotcha.
The fundamentalists are like, they call them fundies in the show.
Yeah.
They're the ones that like have the heinous laws that like are original, like Brigham Young fucking doctrine that was like, it had a lot of fucked up shit in it. And then current LDS is like, okay, we actually need to function in society, so we need to like alter our beliefs a bit here and like our doctrine.
Yeah.
It's just very well made. I think it's a mini series. I don't know how many episodes. It's 7 episodes. Every episode's like an hour, I think. I think it goes a little too long, personally. I think it could have wrapped up with probably 6 episodes. It would have been a little tighter. So I think it drags a little bit. But it is definitely a masterclass in acting, and I highly recommend it.
That sounds very fascinating. Good. Yeah.
Just give it a watch. It's just a fun little,
And it's only 8 episodes. So it's not like
and
a
there's
huge
no new season coming or any shit like that. It's just a very entertaining watch. It's just very well acted.
So it just wraps up after the 8.
Yeah, and it's based on a true story. Like it's an actual thing.
Oh yeah, I forgot you said that. Yeah,
you find out exactly. They slow roll the mystery, and you find out how this family breaks apart, and then like the consequences of that, and it gets dark. That's all I'll say.
It sounds really good. I'll probably check that out.
Yeah, absolutely give it a watch. Yeah. Under the Banner of Heaven. There you go.
Cool.
And now I'm going to go from one true crime miniseries to another true crime miniseries. I got another one. From 2023. Have you heard of Love and Death?
Man, they gotta go to their jobs. We just stay home and, God, that's supposed to be enough.
You always want more.
Oh.
You do, Candy. Whatever you have, you always want more.
Yes, I do. And I'm not gonna apologize for it. It is human nature to go for something with a little thrill at the risk of falling.
Oh! Are you okay?
I'm fine.
Are you sure?
Would you be interested in having an affair?
I saw like the banner ads for it. I don't think I watched it.
Okay, so Love and Death. It's 2023. This stars Elizabeth Olsen and Jesse Plemons. This was an HBO production. Do you know
I think I did see some of this. I think my wife was watching this.
Do you know who Jesse Plemons is?
Oh yeah, he's like
he's
king
blowing
of the world
up now.
right now.
He's blowing up right
amazing.
now. Yeah, he was most prominently from Breaking Bad was his breakout role, I would say, where he was like from the later seasons.
Yeah,
but
he's just in Killers of the Flower Moon.
He was in Fargo. Like he's blowing up. Yeah, he was in Killers of the Flower Moon.
Yeah.
He's becoming a big name. So it is based on another true crime story that actually happened, and it's Elizabeth Olsen. It's in this small, also it's very similar to Under the Banner of Heaven.
Yeah.
I'm out of the two, I'm gonna say watch Under the Banner of Heaven. I think it's way more interesting. Love and Death. I only watched the first 2 episodes and then I stopped.
Okay.
I don't think it's amazing. It didn't hook me. It's very well made. I just didn't find it particularly engaging, and it didn't hook me to keep watching. I was just kind of like, I don't really care.
Yeah.
So it's religious community. We've got 2 families. Elizabeth Olsen is a bored housewife with her husband, who's like kind of a nerdy guy. He's not like very manly at all.
Plemons.
But he's got no.
Oh, okay.
No, it's some other guy. And he's like, I don't know what he does. He's like an engineer or something. He's like got a very good job, but he's just kind of like, a meek, not very outgoing, not like life of the party, like kind of a quiet, reserved, nerdy guy.
Yeah.
And she has her own family. Then we've got this other family, and Jesse Plemons is the patriarch of that family. He's the husband. His wife is kind of a little bit of a neurotic busybody, a little difficult to deal with, like very temperamental, moody, kind of that stereotypical, like, my wife is that gives me headaches, that kind of shit. Yeah. And Plemons is like he is a like picture perfect, like loving husband, good man, good head on his shoulders, has a great job, like provides for his family.
Yeah.
And what ends up happening is the bored housewife, Elizabeth Olsen, tempts Jesse Plemons into an illicit affair. So Elizabeth Olsen tempts, she literally is just like, I'm so bored in my life. Like all I do is stay at home and, cook and clean. I just have nothing going on. And then through literally a volleyball game, they have like a sporting event.
I did see this. Yeah, I watched like the first 2 episodes.
Yes,
of this.
yeah.
Yes,
so
yeah.
there's a volleyball game. It's like a community volleyball game, or church volleyball game.
Yeah.
And she accidentally bumps into Jesse Plemons, and Jesse Plemons like kind of pseudo collapses on top of her.
Mm-hmm.
And so she all of a sudden has the touch of another man, and it excites her.
Yeah, and I think she just confronts him.
She point blank
proposes.
Yep.
She's like, "Do you want to have an affair?" Or
yeah,
something, right?
she point blank says to him, she's like, "Would you like to have an affair with me?" Like she says it very matter of fact.
Yeah,
and because Elizabeth Olsen is basically just like, she doesn't feel guilty about any of this because she's basically just like, well, I'm miserable in my life, so I'm gonna not be miserable. I'm gonna do this thing for me. And this is going to be separate from my other life. I'm going to create a whole new life, and that's my thing.
Yeah.
And Jesse Plemons is like, he's kind of like the what? Like he never really thought of something like that. She's the mastermind behind this.
Yeah.
And then he slowly gets tempted, and then he agrees. And the first episode is basically just them slowly. It's like Elizabeth Olsen really wants this, and Jesse Plemons is really awkward, but Elizabeth Olsen's hot, so he's like, "Oh, okay."
I think it's them awkwardly establishing the parameters,
and they start making rules.
Yeah, they're like, "Well, there's this rule, and like,
okay, we're gonna meet. We're gonna meet at this hotel. We'll meet at this time. We'll check in under these names. Do we want to eat before we fuck?" And it's literally, it's so like business like.
Yeah.
And then they
strange.
just start, and then it gets filthier and filthier and filthier, and they start fucking more and more and more. And she becomes like kind of, a temptress to him. And what ends up happening, the whole central crux of this is Jesse Plemons' wife finds out, confronts Elizabeth Olsen, and then the two of them have a struggle, and Elizabeth Olsen murders her with an axe.
Oh yeah,
that's episode 2. It's like episode 2.
Yes.
What you and I did not see is the second half of the show is a court procedural.
I don't think I've watched that far.
I didn't get to any of that shit because I found the show very boring and dry. I didn't think any of the characters were particularly interesting. It feels like to me. It's like it's something that didn't need to be adapted. I don't think there's enough of an interesting story there to adapt.
Yeah.
Like to me, it's like. Yeah. You could have just made this an episode of a true crime show. It's like, there's not enough meat on the bone to make a mini series about these. It's like a man and a woman had an affair and the wife finds out about it. And then the wife tries to kill her with an axe. And then the other wife accidentally kills her back.
Yeah.
And then there's a court procedural.
Sometimes there's not enough. Like,
it's just not enough there.
Interesting to explore there. It's
but then you watch Under the Banner of Heaven.
Could be.
You watch Under the Banner of Heaven, you get like this crazy like conflict of power, vying for power in this Mormon family, and how the one son becomes tempted by like fundamentalism and how it slowly corrupts his like entire family regime, and how he starts like having anti-government friends and like sort of pseudo forms of militia. Like I'm kind of spoiling some shit, but like it gets really dark and fucked up in that show. It's so much more engaging and interesting. In this show, it's literally just like the first episode is just you're watching an hour of Jesse Plemons and Elizabeth Olsen hook up at a motel room and have like awkward sex.
Yeah.
If you want to watch Jesse Plemons like plowing Elizabeth Olsen in a if you want to see like Jesse Plemons like flubby dad bod, like giving it to like tight, like hot Scarlet Witch in a motel room, watch this show. It's literally just like him like heavily like, Elizabeth Olsen like, I don't actually think you see her nude in this. I was trying to remember if she like did that.
I don't know.
Because that's always a big thing. Like when actors like do nudity in projects. So that's why I don't remember if I'm going to look that up real quick. Tell me what your thoughts on the show were while I look up if she actually did.
I think that to go back to what you were saying, sometimes it is interesting the choices that like directors make where it's like, for the subject matter, could this be like a single episode thing, or could this be a mini series, or could this be a movie? And sometimes like a couple has an affair and then one of them finds out and then there's a murder. It's like, depending on how you portray it or what the actual story behind it is, you're right. Like it could most likely just be wrapped up in like an episode, whereas like dragging it out for 10 episodes might be a bit much. I feel like the thing that people do nowadays more often than not is that they just want an excuse to pad out a mini series and be like, well, we've got 10 hours to fill.
Yeah, there it is.
We'll have
it's like we need content. Sorry, I'm just on MrSkins.com trying to find out if there's a shot of I'm not on that. I'm just kidding. But it's clearly like nudecelebs.net. I'll get off that. Well, this laptop is now useless. No, I know exactly what you're talking about, where it's like, well, we need content. Let's adapt something. It's like, well, we have this article about this woman that killed another woman with an axe. We can make a TV show about that.
Yeah, that'll fill out like 12 hours.
I mean,
like,
I've heard the courtroom part of the show is the best part of the show, but then you needed to summarize everything kind of in the first episode, and they don't really. I thought it just dragged. It did not hook me at all. Yeah, so.
You got another one, or
I got two more.
Okay,
I got two more. What do you got? You give me.
I'm
another,
good. No,
you give me another movie. Give me another movie. You got some. You got some. Because what did you talk about so far? You talked about True Blood.
True Blood.
And you talked about something else. What was the other thing you talked about?
We talked about 1899. We both saw
Yeah,
that.
no, but didn't you give me another movie?
I don't think so.
You didn't say a movie?
No.
You only mentioned the one thing?
I think so, yeah.
Oh, well, for fuck's sakes. Yeah, then give me something else.
Sure.
What do you got?
I watched... Okay. You know what? This is perfect.
Are these cameras recording? I have no idea. I don't know.
Where are we right
I know. That was like, we started this like first thing in the morning, and it was like, well, this is going to be a new experiment. But are they recording? You see, like...
Yeah, they're all...
All right, good. Okay. We're recording, folks. You're hearing my voice, I hope.
Okay.
I only got 2 more TV shows, and one of them I have barely anything to say.
We're going to follow up a true crime drama with a true crime drama with another true crime drama.
I'm not talking about Killers of the Flower Moon.
No. We're not talking about
for the love of God, I'll pull my eyeballs out.
Did you watch May, December?
Do you remember when you first met?
He came to the pet store looking for a job.
It was summer after 6th grade?
7th.
Why do you want to play me?
When they sent me the script, I thought, here is a woman with a lot more to her than I remember from the tabloids.
What would make a 36-year-old woman have an affair with a 7th grader?
No, what the hell is that?
Look this up.
It's called May/December?
I think it's just May, December. It might be May/December.
May, December. Natalie Portman?
Yes. Natalie Portman.
2023. What the fuck is this?
So this just came out.
Never heard of this.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm going to bring this up. It's Natalie Portman.
Julianne Moore.
Yeah, Julianne Moore. She's great. This guy, Charles Melton, is fantastic. I don't know what else he's done.
He looks like the douchey guy from... I've seen this guy in something. I think he might be from Riverdale. Yeah, he's Reggie. He's Reggie in Riverdale.
I haven't watched Riverdale.
He's like the rival to Archie. He's like Archie's rival in Riverdale. I was like, he looks like the bad guy from some teen show I watch. In case you don't know, folks, for some reason, Justin likes to watch teen drama shows. Let's just drop that bomb right now because for some reason, I like romance dramas and I like teen dramas, specifically ones that are from like the early 2000s when I was a teenager. When I was a young teenager boy. Well, they have like the soundtrack takes me back to my youth or like a shot of nostalgia. But I also watch shit like Riverdale now. So I guess if ever there was a chink in my armor, there it is. These are guilty pleasures. So sue me. I know it's shit. They're not good, but for some reason I like them. I don't know why.
That's fine.
Yeah.
We all have our guilty pleasures.
That's my teen drama shows are my guilty pleasure. I can't get enough of that shit. Okay. Even though it's so bad.
May, December. I'm going to try to summarize. This is an interesting one. So this is, again, it's a like drama sort of movie about in real life this happened based on a true story.
Okay.
So the plot is...
When did you see this?
I saw this like a month ago.
You saw it in theaters?
No. It's just on one of the streamers.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
It came up on Netflix or Prime.
Didn't come up on my radar at all.
So in 2015, actress Elizabeth Berry goes to Georgia to research her role for an indie film. And she's going to be playing Gracie, this notorious woman who in 1992, at age 36, was caught sexually assaulting 13-year-old Korean-American Jo Yoo, who was a schoolmate of her son.
Okay.
So
hot.
Jesus Christ. So there's this huge controversy back in the 90s where this 36-year-old woman basically started a relationship with like a teenage friend of her son's. They had like a whole trial and she was convicted of her crimes.
Of being awesome.
Monster. But the 13-year-old ended up getting her pregnant and they had a kid.
Oh,
and
God.
Yeah.
No.
And he stayed with her after she got out of prison and they continued to have a family. So,
what?
Yeah, and I guess I didn't ever hear about this growing up.
Okay.
But like this was a real thing that happened,
Jesus.
basically. So this movie is like based on that, but it's obviously not the same exact people, but it's like
no. But you said she's researching a role, so
this is where it's interesting.
So it's meta. It's like
Natalie Portman is an actress who is researching to play this woman.
But they have but Julianne Moore is playing an actor playing that woman.
No, you got it mixed up.
No, I don't.
Julianne Moore in the film.
Julianne Moore actually had sex with a teenage boy, is what you're saying.
In this movie. Yeah. No.
You fucking I know what you're saying.
You know what I'm saying?
It's a meta. It's meta. You're saying Natalie Portman is playing a fictional character researching a actual character to play a role. And in this movie, that actual character is played by an actress. So it is a version of her.
Yes.
Yeah, I get it.
Okay.
That's an interesting idea.
Yeah.
That's neat.
And
I mean, it's the equivalent of like, imagine, I forgot to mention, sorry, I go back to Love and Death for a second. You know, we were just saying, we were like, there's nothing here to like, there's not enough here to do a show about. Other people thought there was. Not only did they do Love and Death, the year before there was another show starring Jessica Biel called Candy, made by Hulu, about the exact same plot.
Oh, the exact same
same plot.
Wow.
Came out the year before, called Candy. And I tried watching it, and it's a even shittier version of Love and Death.
Oh, so there you go.
I had to throw that in there because it's like, that's
crazy.
So bizarre that like this nothing story got another adaptation by another studio.
Yeah.
Like both studios were just like, we're going to hang our hat on this one.
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck? So it's the equivalent of like, imagine in Love and Death,
there was someone trying to play Elizabeth Olsen for a role.
It's like, imagine episode 9, which didn't exist.
Natalie Portman shows up
and
she's like, I'm going to research you for a film role.
Yeah.
That's basically what's going on.
Right.
So what do we have here? We have like
that's interesting,
an incredibly fucked up, dark, like thing that happened, and now Natalie Portman is this like up and coming indie actress that wants to research her. So she contacts Julianne Moore's character Gracie and is like, "Can I stay with you guys for a while? I'm going to be playing you in this film, so I want to learn your mannerisms."
In this miniseries produced by Hulu and FX. I mean, that's literally, that would be it.
But you know how that actually happens in real life? Oftentimes actors will try to, if the person they're playing in a
they
biopic,
research a role.
They research a role and they go and live with that person or stay with them or whatever. So in terms of the film, what do we have here? We have a very actually fascinating story where you've got Natalie Portman as the actress, Julianne Moore as the woman, and then this Charles Melton playing the 13-year-old who's now grown up. He's like
20 or something.
I guess he's in his late 20s. And obviously Julianne Moore is much older now because like this all happened in 92. And they have like this whole family. They have like 5 kids.
Oh,
yeah,
weird.
They have like a whole they just kept having kids.
Oh my God.
And we're at this point in their life where Melton is seeing his children off to like college, but he's like the age, like what happened
he's
to
not
him,
that much. Yeah, I get what you mean. He's not that much older. Yeah.
It's become fucked up now because he's like watching.
Well, he's only 13 years older than his oldest child.
Yes.
Yeah.
So he's like sending them off, but it's like the age thing is weird. So we're dissecting like who was the victim here? And I mean, obviously he was, but then he doesn't perceive himself as a victim because he's like, no, I love her. Like, I love my family and stuff. And then she's this outsider who's come in and is asking questions and is like stirring shit up. And then Julianne Moore plays the
woman, Gracie,
the matriarch or whatever. And even she's very coy and is like, well, you can come stay, but like blah, blah, blah. And it as you're watching, it's a back and forth between.
It looks like it was a Netflix.
Oh, it was a Netflix. Yeah.
Netflix production. Yeah.
It's very good.
In select theaters and Netflix December 1st.
Yeah. I actually enjoyed it. The subject matter is creepy and weird and disturbing, but then you're wondering between, like, it's a duel between Portman and Moore. Because Portman wants to get to the truth and she wants to really dig to the core of the character. But obviously Moore doesn't want to like actually really dig into like
into
this
how
horrific
fucked up,
fucking
and how fucked
past.
up the situation
It's
actually is. Yeah.
And And she wants to present the family as like, oh, everything's fine and we're great.
Look, we ended up, it worked.
Yeah, it worked.
Like, it worked out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I like, without spoiling it, but like they go back and forth, and then Portman tempts the husband, because she's like, you can start a new life. You don't have to like be chained to this. Like, she's kind of being like tempting him and being like, well, are you actually happy? Are you happy that this is how your life turned out with this horrible situation?
Or is this like sunk cost fallacy?
Or is this sunk cost thing?
Sunk cost fallacy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Where you're like, well, I'm in for a little, so now I'm in for a lot.
Yeah.
Like, that's it.
So they actually sleep together, and then that creates this whole rift and dynamic. And then it actually, like, their interactions cause him to start questioning his
So here's
path.
my question. Is that a true story? Like, did that actually happen?
I don't know.
That's a good question.
Yeah,
like,
I don't know.
Was there actually an actress that ended up having like that?
Yeah.
Now I'm interested, like, because this is meta. So it's like, well, did that happen?
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean?
I don't know.
Like, now I want to look that up. Of like, was there an actress who was researching a role and then ended up fucking up the family?
Yeah.
Or did someone just have this concept?
But then there's all kinds of great.
Wait, is this real? Like the Julianne Moore character, like that was an actual real story? That part was real?
Yes, I believe so. Yeah. That part's real.
Okay.
I don't know.
I gotta look into this now.
Yeah.
You're intriguing me.
And then there's lots of, actually, it's well directed. I think it's Todd Haynes directed it.
What else did Todd Haynes direct? It is Todd Haynes. What did he direct?
He's directed a ton of stuff.
Did he direct Revenge of the Nerds 3? Was that him?
Revenge of the Nerds 3, yeah. He directed Bride of Chucky.
He's mostly known for
that.
Seed of... Oh, this is all artsy crap.
He did Carol. That was a great movie. I'm Not There. Yeah, so he's a well-known Hollywood director.
Like an artsy scene.
So it's very well directed.
So he did not do Revenge of the Nerds 3.
He did not do
Next Generation.
Or Bride of Chucky. Or Seed of Chucky.
So he's not the man who I thought he was. I was about to... He didn't direct Meatballs 3.
No.
Oh, that's unfortunate.
Anyway, the movie is laden with interesting symbolism and metaphors. Like Julianne Moore's, like, the matriarch mother is like likes hunting. And then there's this...
Yeah, I wonder if that comes back.
Well, there's this
Does she hunt and Natalie Portman for sport?
Kind of.
Yeah, I was like,
there's like a weird thing going on where you're trying to figure out.
This doesn't interest me anymore now. Now that I've seen, I'm like, I know what I'm gonna read up what the actual true story was. I don't want to watch the movie anymore.
Oh, you're just not gonna watch the
movie.
Well,
it's a 2-hour fucking movie. I saw the runtime. I was like, oh, nah, I don't need to.
So I should just stop talking.
I could watch Revenge of the Nerds 3 in that time. Now that I'm talking about it, it's like there's better to that. Yeah, it's interesting, but
it's very well done. It's very interesting.
Don't spoil their ending. If
I won't
you feel
spoil
it's worth,
it. Yeah, there's a lot of meat to it. It's very interesting. The only thing that's weird, I don't know why, but I think Julianne Moore is doing like a lisp for the character.
Maybe the actual woman had a lisp.
Maybe she actually did, but it like seems to come and go a little bit, and like I don't know if that's intentional or not. I don't know. But that was weird. That stood out. And the movie has a very interesting ending where Portman, you think she's like, oh, she's got it all figured out. But then it questions her motivation. Like, is she a predator preying on these victimized people and entering their lives and just like sucking out like information and stuff for her own like role so that she can be like
or
a star?
Are we the predators because we're watching this show about our movie about the people that it actually happened to?
Yeah.
Or are the studios the predators because they're making a mini-series about a show?
This. Yeah. So that's May-December.
May-December. And you didn't want to talk about it. You're like, nah, I don't want to do another pick. Yeah. Look at all that content we just got out. Look at all that amazing
I'd rather talk
content.
about Meatballs 3.
Revenge of the Nerds 3, the next generation. Revenge of the Nerds 4, Nerds in Love.
That's you're making these up. Is that real? I thought you were just
No. Revenge of the Nerds 3 is called Next Generation. See?
What?
1992, the Revenge of the Nerds 3, the Next Generation. That's real. And then there's Revenge of the Nerds 4, Nerds in Love. Let me bring this up. Yeah, Revenge of the Nerds 4, Nerds in Love, 1994. These are
this is the problem with us as a society.
Revenge of the Nerds 3 and 4 were giant blockbusters at the movie theater. They made like a shit ton of money.
Look at this poster.
Dude, tens of millions of dollars. No, these were direct-to-video. This is direct-to-video shit. I think the first two Revenge of the Nerds were in theaters. 3 and 4 were direct-to-video, and they're just fucking. They're so fucking bad.
Did you watch them?
Oh, I've seen all of it. Did you know they did a Revenge of the Nerds pilot for a TV show?
Babes are hard to find when you're legally blind. A smile complete with dimples, also lots of pimples. But we have a style. That drives the girls wild. And if you don't agree, you don't know squat. So get ready for the nerd attack.
No.
That could have totally worked as a show. That was a missed opportunity. Look at Big Bang Theory. Like,
that's
seriously,
basically, yeah.
That's literally it. It's a show about stereotypical nerds and nerd culture. You could have taken that concept from Big Bang Theory and just put it on a campus, and it totally would have worked.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, I think they were college students in.
I believe they were.
Right.
Yeah.
So, like, it totally could have worked. The problem, like, Revenge of the Nerds totally could have worked as a pilot, but the pilot they came up with was such shit. And I think they were like in high school, but I could be wrong. But
Bazinga.
Oh, I hate Big Bang Theory. Big Bang Theory sucks shit. Big Bang Theory. I hate.
Is that what they say? Bazinga?
That's
right?
Sheldon's line. He's like, Bazinga. This is on a shirt. Merchandise. Here, if you like Big Bang Theory and you like most network television, would you do us a favor and stop watching right now?
Geez.
We'll wait while you turn off the channel and go to something else. No, I hate I hate network television. We talked about this. Like 2.5 Men. You know, like those zombie shows that like they get a formula and then they get a bunch of jackass writers that know how to write one-liners, and then they do that for 10 years.
And they slowly run it into the ground.
And it's literally a show that's just for it. It's what I will call a syndication show. It exists only to be syndicated because it is so easy to syndicate simple comedies to other countries. They can just, they literally can either sell the concept or they just get it translated and then it syndicates in like 50 fucking foreign countries. And then all those people get rich off syndication checks.
Then you make money because as long as it's still airing, right?
Yeah,
like
syndication. That's syndication. As long as it's in syndication.
But we talked about a great one, the Tim Allen one.
What was
that one called?
Home Improvement.
No, the other one, the newer one.
He has a million.
Remember we talked about
Last Man Standing.
Last Man Standing.
The Last Man Standing. Tim the Turtle. Anyways, I don't like syndication like comedy shows and network shows. They mostly suck shit. In the current time, they are fossils. Like CBS, ABC, NBC, all those networks just need to die. They need to just be done. They don't like their time has passed. People expect a higher standard of television, a higher...
What are you talking about? They've got young Sheldon.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, it's right. It's like, let's create a syndication show, then we can do spin-offs of that show. We'll never have to come up with anything original ever again. Isn't this great? And then what we'll do is, now we've got a streaming site like Peacock and that fucking bullshit where it's like, what we're going to do is we're going to make TV shows based on movie properties we had in the 80s that made a ton of money. Like they're, you know what I mean? Like fucking Illuminati shit. Like they drink the blood of like children to like stay eternally youthful and shit like that.
Those are the people that run syndicated networks.
That's exactly like lizard people. They blink twice. It's like that's the type of people that fucking Will Smith was trying to fight in the MIB movie. Okay.
All right.
So I got 2 more shows to talk about.
You said that the last 2.
No, but then I made you go next.
Oh, okay, okay.
I've got 20 more shows. It's a 10-hour podcast.
Folks, I'm trapped here. I'm chained to the desk. Please call,
much like
call
Jason Stackhouse being tied to the bed for the day.
Yeah.
You are chained to the studio.
All right, what's your next one?
My next one, the title alone got me. Kevin Can Fuck Himself.
It's about a woman who keeps playing perfect housewife.
Hey,
Where's our breakfast? You're not supposed to have favorites.
Kevin's my husband.
Yeah. Babe, can you go see if my package is here yet?
Can't you do it?
I'm in the middle of something.
Then one day, she realizes what she wants.
Whoa, Miss Hercules over here.
Is that blood? It doesn't mean you get to be moody. You already used that excuse once this month.
I swear to God, that's the name of the show. The show's called Kevin Can Fuck Himself. I'm not making that up. Yeah. I wrote it. It's about my actual.
Produced by you.
It's about my actual life having to be your friend. No, I swear to God, this is a real show. This is a newer show too. This is 2021. Let me bring this up.
Did you create an IMDb page for this?
This is not I know you are thinking this is going to be a prank I'm playing on you. This is a real show. Kevin Can Fuck Himself.
Okay.
It's an AMC made show.
Oh, it's
it's Annie Murphy,
the actress
from Schitt's Creek.
Schitt's Creek.
Yes.
Yeah.
Main cast: Annie Murphy from Schitt's Creek, who plays Lexus, who is adorable. That actress is she's too adorable. I like her in everything.
She's great.
In.
Yeah,
she's great.
Schitt's Creek.
She's so likable.
Yeah.
She's just so likable and fun, and she just has great on-screen presence.
Yeah.
We've gushed about Schitt's Creek off camera before.
It's excellent.
It's an excellent show.
Yeah.
So the premise of the show is way more interesting than the show actually is.
Who's Kevin then?
Just don't even keep looking at. Just don't.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
So the premise of the show is, it is two things. It is an experimental television show. It only got 2 seasons and now it's done. Okay. It got canceled or the end of the second season is supposed to be the finale. I watched the first season. The premise is half the show is like a stereotypical, it's so funny. We were just talking about shitty sitcom shows, like network sitcom shows.
Yeah.
Half the show is the stereotypical 3-camera, 1 setting, 1-liner cracking sitcom.
Oh, literally. Okay.
Half the show is like shit like The King of Queens and all that crap.
Married with Children.
Yeah,
kind of
but Married with Children's a little bit more clever. But I was going to say more like the 90s, early 2000s era of sitcom television.
Okay. Everyone Loves Raymond.
Everyone Loves Raymond. Exactly. Okay. Big Bang Theory. Mostly this is similar to The King of Queens, though. Did you know the one I'm talking about? The Kevin James one?
Yeah, Kevin James.
So it's like.
Is that why it's called Kevin? Because
I
Kevin
think so.
James.
I think and the main guy's playing a Kevin James-esque character. So
oh man,
the main guy, he's played by Eric Peterson. Let me look up.
Is that also the joke?
Let me show you what the guy looks like. Look.
Oh yeah.
That literally he is cast perfectly. So he is playing the stereotypical big fat dumb protagonist that has the
dad.
hot that has the hot. No, he's not even a dad.
Okay.
It's it's basically King of Queens. So
did they not have kids?
No, they didn't have kids in that.
Okay.
So it's basically the hot fat guy. He's basically Kevin James. He's the Kevin James character.
Well,
that has the hot piece of ass wife that really wouldn't be with a big fat schlub like that. That is obnoxious and mistreats his wife, but it's done but there's a laugh track, so it's okay.
Oh, okay.
But that's only half the show. The other half is a serious drama that centers around Annie Murphy's character and
her experience.
So what's brilliant about the show is the show, literally within the same scene, it's lit and filmed like a sitcom, complete with a laugh track, and then suddenly it cuts to Annie Murphy's character, and she's in a drama, and it's realistic lighting, and there's no laugh track, and it's a serious show.
Oh, that sounds amazing.
So
I want to watch this.
It's a very experimental show.
Yeah.
And I would say the premise of the show is, what if you followed the wife character from a sitcom like King of Queens? What would that actually be like?
And she was secretly miserable.
And you see how actually miserable she is being attached to a doofus guy that has all these schemes and things like that. And she has forced to clean up from her asshole neglectful husband that is just a big fat piece of shit.
Yeah, well that's Married with Children, ow. And what's her name?
Yeah.
That's like, would she really stick around with like this like loaf that just comes home and sits on the couch and drinks beer and is like like back in my day.
No peg.
Yeah.
So
that's fascinating. So also
then
Kevin can go fuck himself is also sounds like a parody of like everyone loves Raymond.
Yes,
right. Like,
it's like
everyone
the exact
loves
opposite.
Kevin.
It's like
It's like no, Kevin can
go fuck himself. Yeah. It's what ends up happening. That's the basic idea. I'll say this.
You didn't finish it.
No, it's the problem with the show is it's a fun experiment, but it's not really a fun watch. It's really cool, and I'm glad it exists, but like it doesn't. I personally think it runs out of steam because what you end up getting is like, okay, half the episode is kind of just nothing. It's to set up for the drama half of the episode. So half of this episode, you're forced to watch the shitty sitcom where they crack one-liners and shit. And then the other half, it's like, okay, now Annie's having to like work around while this nonsense stuff. It's edited and filmed brilliantly.
That was my next question.
The switch is seamless.
You're
when
saying
it
it's half and half. Like, wouldn't it be like mixed up, like some within the same scene?
So they'll have shit that's like you're in the drama world, and then in the other room, the sitcom world is happening, and you can hear their voices going through the door.
Yeah.
Like it's brilliantly filmed. It's worth watching just to see how cool of an idea it is.
Yeah.
Here's what I think. Would have worked better as an episode of an anthology of something. You could have done like as an episode of Black Mirror. This would have been perfect. I would have loved it if it was an episode of like an anthology show.
Yeah.
It doesn't work as a full TV series. It just runs out of steam. So the subplot is like Annie, the first season is really dark. She actually is like wanting to kill Kevin. Like she wants to kill her husband. She wants to murder her husband. And she ends up befriending, the actress is Mary Hollis Inbedin, who I've never really seen anything else. She's really good in this. I got to give her flowers. She ends up, so the husband, Kevin, has like another doofus, his like little gang, his posse is like him, and he's got the doofy best friend next door who's even dumber than he is. And he's just like a big, like a Barney Rubble, like big tall guy that's like, the main guy's Fred Flintstone. He's like a tall Barney Rubble. And he's like, you know, Kevin.
Hey,
like,
Kevin.
Yeah, and he wears like a backwards baseball cap. And he always wears like sports jerseys, much like yourself.
Much
actually.
like me.
Yeah, much like you. Yeah, just like you're my.
Hey, Justin. Yeah, that sounds good, Justin. Are you living in this reality?
Yeah. Right. Yeah. Yes, correct. Yeah, so he has his like doofy best friend.
So you're plotting to murder me.
No. It would be your wife. Or, well, no, sorry. It would be my wife would be plotting to murder me.
Okay.
I don't have a wife, by the way, folks. Yeah. Ain't no ring on this finger. You just can't tie down this lone wolf. I'm lonely. Anyways, so he has a best friend named Neil, and Neil's like the stereotypical like doofy best friend. It's like, yeah, Kevin, that's a great idea, like that kind of shit. Yeah. Just he has a sister who's on the show. But they don't know they're on a show, but they film it like it's a show. It's bizarre.
Okay, yeah.
And his sister, and Annie, sorry, not Annie, and I forget her character's name, but Annie Murphy's character, they end up bonding. So she shows up in the drama world.
Ooh, interesting.
And that's in the first episode, and they end up bonding. And
so she almost trying to pull people into the drama world.
Yes. Yeah. And one of the coolest things is when you get to see some of the characters suddenly show up in the drama world.
Shift into
I watched the finale just to see what would happen. And the finale of the show is Kevin finally comes into the drama world. And he's a fucking monster. Like, he's the biggest piece of shit. And that's one of the things I like is I got to give Eric Peterson credit. Like he nails the doofy Kevin James character, but then when he had to do
he has to be serious,
he was perfect.
Yeah,
he was perfect. So yeah, The show's a fun concept. I just don't have much else to say. I'm going to say watch the first couple episodes. You'll have fun, but just know that it doesn't have enough steam going. Like they try to give the sister character her own subplot where she's like, her Kevin is her brother.
Okay, yeah.
So that's why they bond. Is her Kevin is Neil, where Neil lives in her home and he's like a man child and she's trying to get rid of him. Like she's like, you gotta like find your own life. Like you can't just leech off me forever. You know, like I work and I do my own thing. You just like slouch around the house basically. And so she's also I believe she is like a closeted lesbian, and her subplot is like she's trying to discover her sexuality. Yeah, you know.
So it's characters trying to pull the rest of them into like reality, basically. And
in a
the
sense,
reality is like quite dark, but it's a dichotomy of like, oh, we're nutty.
Yeah,
like
and one of the things that's fun is sometimes serious characters show up on the sitcom, and the show is written and filmed brilliantly in the way they execute.
Who made this? Like who directed this?
I did, Kevin. We did establish this at the beginning. Creator Valerie Armstrong, who I have no idea who this is. I don't know. Do some more research, folks, and then look this up, and you can find out what else she made.
It sounds great, though. I will be checking it out for sure.
It's just so bizarre and interesting. You know, it's got 7 out of 10 on IMDb. Like, I think people who discover it, see, like this is what the show looks like.
Yeah, just
see, then look, and then it cuts.
Then it cuts into,
and then suddenly it's like a serious drama. And it's like all like dark mood lighting, and it's just fascinating when it cuts between the two. Yeah. And sometimes you have characters where you're like, well, that won't possibly work in a sitcom. And they show up in the sitcom part of the show, and they perfectly write it where it works. And then you realize like sitcoms are such artificial fake realities. They're so bullshit that you can basically make anything work in that show, in that format. And
so you're playing around with like hyper reality of like the different characters' existences. That's fucking great. It's
fun.
I'll check it out.
Okay, my last show, and we'll probably wrap up with this.
I think we should just wrap up now. I don't
stop.
I don't know.
No. I think you're going to love my next pick.
Okay.
From 2022, I watched George and Tammy.
Put your hands together for George Jones.
You live in a fast world.
Fast is the only speed I know. Miss Tammy Wynette.
Mm-hmm.
Will you make me an honest man?
You make me an honest woman.
You bet.
The Jones solo stuff is flatlining. I should have done more to stop it.
You can't stop her unless her beauty.
Oh, this is
the biopic mini. No.
Oh no, it's a mini series.
The biopic mini series on
George
Jones and George. No. You're thinking of Tammy, the Eyes of Tammy Faye.
I was thinking of Eyes of Tammy Faye. Yeah.
Coincidentally stars Jessica Chastain, and this also stars Jessica Chastain.
Really?
Yeah, it's the same. Yeah.
To Tammy,
and she won the Oscar for The Eyes of Tammy Faye.
That's right.
She won an Oscar for that. So no, this is the George Jones and Tammy Wynette biography show. That's why I'm like, you're gonna love this.
This is gonna be insane.
It's yes,
because George Jones was like a monster.
Yeah, you got it.
I know all about George Jones.
So this is a biopic miniseries about the life of country western music stars George Jones and Tammy Wynette, and their insane relationship and history over time.
Super toxic relationship over like decades.
Yes.
Yeah.
It is amazing.
I would love to see it.
You will.
Don't spoil it.
You're going to
me.
love it.
Yeah.
George Jones is played. So remember
who plays him?
Okay. Remember last. This is so eerie. I wanted to talk about it in the same episode, but I'm like, I'm going to save this. Remember last episode I talked about the film Take Shelter?
Yes.
Which starred Michael Shannon and Jessica Chastain. George and Tammy stars Michael Shannon and Jessica Chastain. Michael Shannon plays George Jones.
Oh man,
he is perfect. His performance is hauntingly good.
Yeah,
Jessica Chastain. I'll say this: every actor in this is probably like a career highlight performance. It's like demo reel material of like just how good it is. Jessica Chastain nails Tammy Wynette.
Nice.
Yeah, nails it.
This came out like last year.
Yeah.
You're saying,
Yeah,
man.
2022.
I can't believe
we're in 2024 now, so it's technically 2 years ago.
This. Yeah.
I can't believe this wasn't on your radar.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it was like Showtime. It was like a major network. Like it's a premium network.
Yeah.
Yeah. Most of the shows I'm going to be recommending, folks, come from premium networks. You're very rarely going to hear me reference a network television show, like one of the major networks.
Yeah.
So when I mention one of these shows, you're either going to find it on a streaming site, or you're going to find it, like watch it illegally, watch through a streaming site or some shit. You'll find it through some other thing. But like a lot of the shows I talk about, it's like HBO. Oh, we had one of the cameras go down.
Went down.
This one. That's the one that always overheats. So most of the things I'm recommending, they're coming from premium networks premium services. So you got like, if I recommend a TV show, it's like FX, Showtime, AMC, HBO, Cinemax even has like their own stuff. Or it's going to be a streaming site like Apple TV Plus, Netflix, Hulu, whatever. I'm just pointing that out for people listening and people watching. That's where you're going to find most of this shit. But I mean, we're in the fucking internet age. For the love of God, just do your own research. If you hear me say something that sounds interesting, fucking just Google it and find out where you can watch it.
Yeah.
I'm going to say this right now on the record. Almost everything I watch through illegal streaming sites. And I do that because as someone, and I own a video store. Like I sell new movies and Blu-rays and shit like that.
Give me a second. I'm just gonna contact the authorities real quick.
Yeah, you fucker. Yeah. I was like, why is he interrupting me in the middle of what I'm saying?
I'm just gonna call the police real quick.
Oh well, here, use my phone. It doesn't work. Fucking asshole. So as someone that's like in that industry, I'm gonna tell you right now, don't pay full price on any of this shit. Like in my store, we sell movies for what they should be, like $5, $10, $15, not $35, $40 for a brand new fucking movie that's probably a piece of shit when it comes out. Like the home video market, when you buy them new as new releases, are a fucking ripoff without a doubt. They're way overpriced when they're brand new.
$50.
And most fucking new movies suck shit. Like a year, how many movies are we even going to put in our collection? 1, maybe 2?
Oh, it depends. I don't know.
No, but now. I'm talking about current movies that are new releases. Not a whole hell of a lot.
Well, it also takes time to like your whole process of like rewatching something.
That's
and
the point I'm making is like the way I look at it is watch these movies and TV shows any way you can, stream them, watch them. Now, do I have paid streaming services? Yes. I have Amazon Prime, I have Netflix, I have Disney Plus, and I have Shudder. So I have
Shudder,
I do support several of these services, but I don't have everything. And like I don't have HBO, I don't have network television, all that shit. So like I often have to illegally stream this shit to be able to watch it and see if the show's good. And the thing is, I justify it because the way I look at it is I want access to everything. I'm going to watch everything that's out there. I don't care how I get at it because if I actually like something, you're going to get my money because I'm going to buy it physically. If I really think something's worth owning, I will buy it and own it. That's how you're going to get my support. I very rarely go to the theaters anymore. Honestly, I don't because I don't think it's fucking worth half the new movies that come out. They're mostly shit. All the good ones tend to go right to the streaming sites now, I find anyways. Any of the more interesting ones or anything that's really interesting goes into theaters for like a week and then it's out of theaters.
Yeah, that is a problem.
So folks, my recommendation is watch the shit any way you can, but if you actually really like it and you think something's it's collection worthy, you think it's worth owning physically, buy it. That's how you support the industry. Buy it. If you really think a movie's going to be good, then pay to go out and see it in theaters. Like the last movie I saw in theaters was Godzilla -1. I just went to the theaters and we'll talk about that on another episode. Yeah. But I really wanted to see it and I really wanted to see it in theaters. But like something like May, December, I wouldn't have paid to go see that in theaters.
Probably not. Yeah.
I don't think it's necessary,
Yeah.
Why did we start talking about this?
I don't know. We were talking about George Jones.
Let's get back into that. Okay, so George Jones, in case you don't know the story of George Jones and Tammy Wynette, I'm not going to break it down. Watch the goddamn show. That's what the show's for. Yeah. But it's literally two of the biggest names in country music of all time.
Yeah, he's one of the greatest like honky tonk.
It's literally like
singers.
The king and queen of country music. It is like the term like stranger than fiction. The actual real life shit that they did is
they
insane.
probably had to tone this down from
For
like
the show.
reality, because
Right.
people would be like, "Oh, that's ridiculous.
outlandish. That's
Yeah,
not possible.
That wouldn't
that
possibly
happened.
happen. Yeah.
Right. The actual story of their relationship is madness. It is so entertaining. It is so there's so many crazy anecdotes about George Jones. George Jones was a like rampant alcoholic and drunk. Tammy Wynette actually later became a rampant drug addict and had her own series of problems. And the two of them would just the whole show takes place over several decades. It's literally their entire life.
Yeah.
It's from when they first meet until like their last reunion tour. And it's beautiful. And they age them and they age all the side characters. I believe it's Showtime that did it. It's a big budget production. It's period accurate sets, period accurate concert halls. They do performances. Nothing feels low budget. Everything feels high budget. It's great sets, great costuming, great production value. You feel like you're in the time periods. They film concerts so well. Like they do like the Grand Ole Opry, like which is like one of the most famous like places to perform in the country music scene.
Yep.
Everything is like perfect the way you want it to be. All the performances are top tier. Perhaps the most mind-blowing thing about the show. All of the songs and the singing is actually Michael Shannon.
Oh, I love that.
And
That's
Jessica
great.
Chastain.
Yeah. It's very hard to like perfectly do George Jones's voice because he has an incredible voice. Like
Michael Shannon and Jessica Chastain do the singing in this in the show.
And Chastain sings. Wow.
Chastain is perfect. Her singing, her covers
Now I really
of
wanna
Tammy
see
Wynette's
this.
songs are as good as Tammy Wynette. Like she is Tammy Wynette in these songs. It's insane. Like her rendition of "Stand by Your Man" will like give you goosebumps.
Oh,
it's so good.
Amazing.
Yeah. You don't have to like. In case I'm saying this and you're like, country music. It's like I will admit I'm not a huge music guy in general, but I'm also like country music is probably the least of my like if, on the ranking of genres. Country is pretty low for me. I know it's higher for you.
I love old country, like classic, like 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s country. Yeah.
I have a lot of that in my like music library, but it's not a genre I tend to go toward immediately. I don't gravitate towards that genre, and I think a lot of people don't in general, except for very specific communities in the States. It's very specific areas where country music is like huge.
Yeah.
It's bigger in the States than it is here for sure, but I think it's more so in specific pockets. You don't have to care about country music to love this show. The performances are incredible and the stories are madness.
Yeah.
And it's a fun watch. And it's got great drama and heart to it as well. Like it's just a great, entertaining story. This is the type of thing you turn into a miniseries.
Yeah, this seems
This
perfect
has meat
for
on
a
the
minute.
bone,
Yeah.
and it is like I don't. The Emmys haven't happened yet. I will be shocked if Chastain and Shannon don't walk away with awards from this.
Interesting.
Like Michael Shannon's probably going to get a best Emmy, like best actor in a series for this.
Wow.
He just is like, it's career performances. They're that good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you want to see interesting like history of George Jones, there's that Tales from the Tour Bus,
which
Mike Judge.
criminally didn't get more seasons.
I know.
It was so good.
So Mike Judge's Tales from the Tour Bus.
Let's recommend it real quick.
We'll just recommend it.
So
yeah.
that was an HBO production. Mike Judge, who you would know as the creator of Beavis and Butthead and King of the Hill.
Yeah.
He is a huge music fan and like pseudo music historian.
Yeah, his depth of knowledge
is insane.
and like the history of country music and
all
funk,
music,
rock.
all music,
Yeah.
all music. And he had this brilliant TV show where it's all animated, which I think works to the show's credit because then they didn't need any money to hire actors for like recreations or like reenactments. So it's all animated. It's cartoons, and every episode spotlights a specific artist and the insanity of anecdotes that happened around their life, and it's all cartoonishly animated, and it's so fun and
it's great. Yeah.
And every episode, half the episode is just talking heads of people being interviewed that were friends and family of the person, the artist they're spotlighting, and sometimes the actual artists themselves.
Yeah.
And it's just so it was such a great show. It gives you such an insight into their crazy lives.
I think what makes it work so well is he clearly like cares and loves the subject matter so much, but also I think most likely how he created the show was he would go and interview all these people that knew, like say George Jones or Tammy Wynette.
Get this reservoir of anecdotes.
He'd sit down with them, probably just put a mic in the room or a recorder and just like naturally talk to them and hear their crazy stories of this history of like touring with these artists. And then those people aren't camera shy because they're not being filmed with like a whole film production. So they're probably just naturally like sitting on their couch being like, oh yeah, so this one time back in 1968, this crazy thing happened. And because they're not like, they don't have like 18 cameras in their face and like a whole production, it feels like their stories are so much more natural. And they're just like, yeah, I remember back in the day we used to do this and that. And then you take that audio and then you just animate it.
They animate it.
Animate the story.
Animate it, yeah.
So all the crazy stories about George Jones, you can take them and then just like animate
and then
them.
animate
them.
them.
Yeah. So
and
it's brilliant.
And George Jones and Tammy Wynette, I believe, got their own individual episodes.
I think they had their own individual episodes.
I think each one of them did.
Yeah.
Either they did or they both had like a episode together, and they got some of that George Jones madness in there.
Yeah. So
and some of the stories, I believe, from Tales from the Tour Bus
show up in the miniseries.
It only got 2 seasons, Tales from the Tour Bus, and tragically it didn't return for a third. And I highly recommend it. You don't have to be into music to love it. It's just crazy anecdotes of these like larger than life people that lived these crazy lives, and it's animated to these funny cartoons. It's just great.
Yeah.
It was such a great show.
Oh, it's amazing.
Please come back. Please bring it back. Please. Instead of rebooting King of the Hill, Mike Judge, can you please just make this your main
Tales
show?
of the Tour Bus season 3. Yeah.
Oh, and continuous. I just wanted to keep going because it's just it was such a great. I want someone to take that format, exactly what you just said, and do it for other things.
Yes.
Why not do actors? Seriously.
Yeah.
Why not just like every episode is a deep dive on some actor's like crazy life, and they exactly what you just said. You casually interview them like this with the audio, and then you animate it later.
Yes.
Brilliant idea.
If you're just talking to someone like this with just a recorder,
who knows what they might say?
Who knows what they might say or what story they might tell, and then they're not like self-conscious about like what they're talking about, and then it's much more natural. They're much more like able to discuss an interesting thing. You take that and then you like animate something cool around it. Like, yeah, I don't know why no one's done more of that.
I know why.
Why?
Because fuck you.
Oh.
I mean, because Kevin can go fuck himself. And with that, we will wrap up this episode of, I nearly said Tales from the Tour Bus. That's not
Tales from the Recently Watched.
Yeah, we will wrap up this episode of Recently Watched. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. In case you don't know, we're available on I keep getting asked this by people that ask me about the show. They're like, is there an audio-only version? Yes, there's an audio-only version. You can find us on Spotify. You can find us on iTunes, everything. All those links are actually in the description of this video if you're watching this on YouTube. Now, that being said, if you're listening to the audio-only version, it is the inferior version of this show. If you want to see the full experience is the YouTube video experience where you see our stupid faces. You can see us genuinely laughing.
Yeah.
You can see our ugly mugs.
Our ugly mugs.
That is the definitive way to watch this show.
Yes.
Is seeing this right here. This right here. All of this. The whole shebang. So until next time.
Until next time.
Bye-bye.